Time to break down the RBs walking out of the NFL draft. We have had the NFL draft come and go. We're now looking at the landing spot implications across all players. We have some teams doubling up on RB, like Dylan Sampson uniting with Quinshon Judkins. What does that do? These two are fighting each other in terms of the value. We're breaking down all the RBs. We'll do the wide receivers next. That'll be next show. This is the RB show. This is the post-NFL draft RB ranking show. Hit that like button. File on in. Get ready to call in after I do all the rankings and break it all down. The fantasy football show. Look at this. Begins right now.
Live from the fantasyfootballshow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
What a crazy draft. Just real quickly, Shedeur goes in round 5 to the Browns. They finally get him, but it's ridiculous. Just unbelievable debacle of I think, team thinking across the board. I don't care. People say, Smitty, how does this make sense? 32 teams missed the boat. I see this comment all the time. 32 teams should take a stab at him in round 5. Yeah, everybody that missed the boat in round 5, that includes all 32 teams. Because you could add one of the best backups in situations. You could build a franchise around the guy. You don't believe that? I don't care. I really don't care. We could have this debate all day long. I could debate it all day long. I could go day and night. I've slept like 5 hours in the last 3 days. Try me. Phone lines will be open in a minute. And Isaiah Bond didn't get drafted. I see the comment. Didn't get drafted. What a shame. I'm not saying he's innocent, but he's innocent until proven guilty. He went hardcore at the accusations that came at him, but they dropped his value. It is what it is. Bond hopefully has a chip on his shoulder. Sanders hopefully has a chip on his shoulder, and they come for everybody in this NFL. Okay, so here we are talking about RBs, and I've already kind of thrown the RBs on the board in a tier 1 and a tier 2 with Harvey kicking off tier number 2. I'm not going to just, dance around this and reveal them one at a time. We know Jeanty's the one. There's no hesitation, equivocation, stuttering in my voice or any sort of caveat or whatever. This is the guy. This is the next elite running back. Top 3 in Dynasty for RBs. Maybe top 4, top 3 overall in Dynasty, in a Dynasty inaugural startup draft. This guy is an absolute monster. They love him in LV. They're going to feed him in LV. Pete Carroll loves running one running back. This is their guy. He's going to get so many carries. It wouldn't shock me if he was the number 1 overall running back in 2025. In redraft, it wouldn't shock me if he was that good right out of the gate. He's deserving in redraft at top 5 consideration. Plain and simple. We're not going to talk about the man known as Jeanty much longer. Of course, you know the stats. 100-yard game in every single game last year. First in the nation in yards after contact per attempt. First in the nation in forced missed tackles per attempt. You got first in the nation in percentage of yards for his team. Second in stacked boxes. Freaking phenom. His yards after contact alone would have led the whole entire college football in rushing yards. Meaning he would have the only person he couldn't beat is himself. His yards after contact only would have led the nation alone in yards, in total yards, right ahead of Cam Scatabo, who we'll get to in a minute. Jeanty's the guy. There's no debating this. You look embarrassing if you try and argue anything else. This next group right here, Henderson and Hampton, this is going to be the debate of the offseason. It is what it is. Hampton truthers and guys that have already drafted Hampton and inaugural startups that happened in March or in February. Sometimes that happens. For those of you that think everybody hasn't drafted rookies yet, that's not true. There are inaugural drafts that happen in January, February, March, early April, right before the NFL draft, where there are high investment dollars in Hampton. High draft picks have been used to get him, and there are people out to defend him. And there's no negative here. Anybody thinking this is disrespectful, you probably don't like Hampton as much as I do. I like Hampton probably more than the person saying that this is a wrong ranking. You just don't know me. You just don't know how much I love rookie running backs. You just don't know what in the hell's going on here when it comes to my ranking board and how I go about my business. But this is a very similar situation. Henderson, yeah, his draft value, his cost of entry was lower, not that much lower. We're talking about first round, second round. We're talking about early second round. We're talking about mid to late first round. So they're close, but it is a round difference in value. So one could make a very strong argument that, Hampton's a first rounder. I hear it over and over and over. You're not enlightening me. I've been doing this since you were crapping your pants and sharting your pants in your diaper. Okay? So you're not enlightening me when you say, Smitty, they wouldn't have drafted him in the first round if they weren't going to use him as a starter full time. You've got clear investment interest in Hampton when you're just shooting that at me. A real person that's going to approach this without any sort of bias, and I'm not mad at the Hampton believers. I love my Hampton people. But you're literally showing that you're biased when you can't sit here with a straight face and say, you can make arguments for both. Henderson and Hampton and Henderson, they're in practically the same situation. And if you don't believe that to be true, you are super biased. Look, I'm saying that Hampton could be better than Henderson. I'm saying Henderson could be better than Hampton. I do got to choose, and I will choose. And you see it on the screen, I've already chosen. But it's not by a landslide. And if anybody thinks that his running back situation with Ramondre is so far different than his running back situation with Najee Harris, you're out of your mind. These are both lesser running backs. Ramondre's not Henderson, and Najee's not Hampton. And Najee is on a 1-year deal, which is a better way to look at this thing than looking at Stevenson, who's on not a 1-year deal, but he's also on a deal that they can get rid of him. It's practically a 1-year deal. It's not a 1-year deal on paper, but it is a very expendable contract to the tune of, I think, like $1 or $2 million in dead cap. He literally is on a 1-year deal. They won't bring him back if they don't believe he's contributing at all. They'd rather just draft another rookie. So essentially, there's a 80%, 90% chance that Stevenson's not even on the roster next year. Okay, so him and Najee are essentially and virtually the same thing. There's no debating that one is a home run over the other. It's just a ridiculous conversation. Preference is what it's called. Preference is the name of the game. My preference is with Hendy. My preference is with the player that I had ranked before the draft unfolded ahead of Hampton. So this was my ranking of RB walking into the NFL draft. Jeanty, Henderson, Hampton. Very close between Hampton and Henderson, but I like Henderson's skill set more. I like that Henderson is the best pass blocking running back in the nation. You want me to make an argument as to why Henderson's more valuable to the Patriots in the lineup than Hampton is? I'll tell you. Number one, he's the best pass blocking running back in the National Football League. You have an up and coming quarterback that needs to be protected, that was getting demolished last year. And you need to protect him. Why do I believe that this is the number one goal for the New England Patriots when it comes to the running back and when it comes to the first round draft selection that they made, where they went ahead and said, you know what, let's go ahead and, okay, we'll take Hendy here at 38 overall. That's a nice move. Okay, that protects Drake May. And their number one overall first round selection over here at this number 4 overall spot when Jeanty was still on the board was Will Campbell. Offensive tackle. The whole goal, the whole objective is to protect and make sure they're going to have a successful second year and build up and maturity and cultivation of this man known as Drake May. So Henderson's positioning is stronger rooted than I believe Hampton's is. Not that Hampton can't get it there. Understand what I'm saying, people. There are going to be Hampton people that go, Smitty doesn't like Hampton. He thinks Hampton isn't important. He thinks Hampton's not going to start. Hampton's going to be fine. Hampton might have some more obstacles, I think, potentially, than maybe Henderson does to be cemented in to the game plan the way that I believe Henderson will. Now, will Hampton get maybe more first and second down work than Henderson does? It's possible. It really is. But Henderson's pass blocking prowess, the ability this man has to be one of the best, if not the best pass blocking running back in the National Football League, guarantees he hits the field. Does it guarantee that Ramondre doesn't get a lot of work between the 20s and Hendy? It's hard to say. It really is hard to say. If they need a lot of grinded out work, they'll probably give Stevenson a lot of that work, and you want that. Think of Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty. You don't want Gibbs running 17 games as the full-time up the gut getting those 3rd and 4 yard hard carries that no one's really getting more than a 3 or 4 or a 5 yard carry. There are certain running backs that get that grunt work that average 3.9. Najee's one of them. 4.2, 4.3 yards per carry. And really, it's not a knock on the player. Look at Achane. Achane was the best running back in NFL history in yards per carry. And when Mostert went down, they had the whole running back stable broken. Achane last year in 2024 became the between the tackles running back. His yards per carry plummeted. And so you need a running back that's going to take that abuse. Who cares about a 3 or 4 yard carry times 7? Like, we want those pop shots to the outside. I want those Breece Hall explosives to the right, to the left. Go in the flat, catch a ball, take it 45 yards downfield. That's what Henderson's designed and built to do. That's what he's been put on this earth to do. He's not supposed to be a 22 carry running back, even an 18 carry running back. This is a 12 to 13 to 14 carry running back that gets you 4 to 6 receptions per game. He's going to have a touchdown pretty much every other game guaranteed, is the way that I look at it. In my mind, it's not, I can't guarantee that, but that's the way my mind looks at it. And Hampton's going to be that guy that's going to get you 7 to 10 touchdowns on the ground, and he's very good in the receiving game. But Najee and him will definitely divide up some work to start the year. What do I see at the end of the day? Najee's never missed a game, so I don't know that we can sit here with a straight face and be like, Najee gets hurt. We don't know that. Najee's never missed a game. Hampton's had some fumble issues that I think he's overcome. There's a certain type of confidence I have that Harbaugh isn't worried about what you and I are worried about. There's a certain amount of Harbaugh that's a team-driven guy. He's not a one-man, this guy deserves all the accolades. This guy's going to get run, up the gut constantly, get all the work. There is a world where Harbaugh's like, Najee's, going to get that goal line work. There's certainly a world where that happens. Now, do I think talent eventually wins out and Hampton takes the job completely by week 9, 10, 11? Yes. And Hampton going weeks 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You're talking about 9 to 10 weeks, depending on where their bye week is. 9 to 10 weeks of being a monster might put him as a top 5, 6, or 7 overall running back at the end of the year, making thus Hampton one of the best ball running backs you can get outside of round 1 in fantasy football. Am I making myself clear to the Smitty hates Hampton group? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Best ball, Hampton's got even slightly more value in best ball that he does in redraft. In best ball, he becomes a weapon because you could focus on attaining players in your draft strategy is it such so that you're getting running backs in rounds 1, 2, or that pop off on weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By week 7, 8, and I'm not saying he's not good, Hampton, in weeks 1 through 6, 1 through 5, but if there is a probability or likelihood that he gets more unleashed as the season goes along, then he's a monster in the second half of the season. No one's taking anything away from Hampton. If you think you like Hampton more than me because Henderson's too, you're embarrassing yourself. And you can go get a coffee and bring it back when you're ready because Smitty ain't having it. If I had to throw out projections for Hendy, I think it's like a 950 to 980 rushing yard type of season. So you're gonna give him. Let's just write it down as. Come on! Don't fail me now, marker. Don't fail me now. If it's we'll call it a 980 rushing yards, 6 TDs on the ground, 50 to 55 receptions. This is the best receiving pass blocking back in the league. He's going to be on the field for checkdowns. He's probably going to get something around 450 to 500 yards receiving. He's probably going to get somewhere around 4 TDs receiving. That puts him at a grand total of 10 touchdowns, a whopping 1,400 to 1,500 total yards, 10 touchdowns, 50 to 55 receptions. This is running back 6, 7, 8. That stat line's about 6, 7, 8. Now, Hampton probably could get you around 1,400 total yards if everything goes perfectly. If he gets unleashed a little bit later, something around 1,300 total yards, something around 1,100 rushing yards and 7 TDs on the ground, something along the lines of 180 to 200 receiving yards and probably 1 TD receiving and something like 22 receptions. This is a player that's right there hanging with Henderson. There's a chance there's more work in the receiving game. We'll just have to see. The odds are that the Patriots, wanting to protect Drake May with the best pass blocking RB in the draft class in Trey Henderson, makes me feel like he's safer than people think at the RB spot. I see people talking about Henderson not going to get on the field. I don't think that's the case. We'll address it as concerns or as good news approaches for both these guys, and we'll assess and reassess. Hampton's not in a bad spot long term. He's not even in a bad spot short term because, like I said, look at Gibbs's rookie season. This is Gibbs's rookie season, and there's some good that comes with not being used. This bottom green row is Gibbs, 36 in the league in running, 22, 25 running back, 25. Didn't play week 5, didn't play week 6. He did nothing in weeks 1 through 6, but look how much of a monster he was. Running back 3, running back 1, running back 2, running back 3, running back 3, running back 3. He was an absolute stud. Just a flat out mother freaking stud. Running back 9 or 10, depending on your scoring, without playing really any football till week 7. And he had a bye week. So week 7, had a bye week, was running back 9 or 10 without playing at the beginning of the year. Am I making sense to the people that aren't picking up what I'm throwing down? Because I feel like it's such a wild take to suggest I don't like Hampton because I have Henderson ranked higher than you. I like Hampton more than you. I'm like one up. Where's one up anyway? Remember one upper came in here, started telling me how wrong I am, how dumb I am, because I didn't have what's his face? What was it? What was the running back he was saying that was gonna absolutely make me look like a moron? What was it? It was I'm already forgetting what the running back was. It was Devin Neal. Devin Neal. Hey, where's Devin Neal? Still not on my top 10 running back list. What do you know? Where is he at? Never shows up again. He'll never call it again. Maybe he will. Maybe he heard me say that and I'm going to challenge him to call in, but wild. Okay, so here we are with Hampton, Henderson, Jeanty. Almost a tier. I don't want to say like it's a hard tier break because I don't want to disrespect Harvey. I don't want to disrespect Judkins. I don't want to disrespect Dylan Sampson, Cam Scatabo. These are all really good landing spots. Even Caleb's pretty decent, but I think it's limiting to a degree. It's one-dimensional, but still could be pretty good. Harvey's my number 4. I know some of you Judkins fans are going to get real upset at me today. It's not that I don't like Judkins at all either, but Judkins was drafted into a Cleveland Brown environment that is a pretty solid place to go. Maybe even the best, one of, if not the best running back landing spot that any of these rookies could have been handed. At the end of the day, I wouldn't push a button to shove Jeanty into Cleveland because when the draft was unfolding and we were saying to ourselves like, oh my God, this trade happened. Could the Cleveland Browns draft Ashton Jeanty because the Cleveland Browns moved down to 5 and we thought maybe he was going 5 to the Cleveland Browns. We wanted it. When it didn't happen, we were kind of like temporarily upset, right? Because we didn't know that the Raiders would for sure take him. So every step he got closer to Chicago, we were just like scared that it was going to happen. We didn't want him in Chicago. This landing spot at the end of the day is better than Cleveland. Why do I say that? Because you got Bowers, you've got a situation where this Raiders organization is going to figure out their quarterback situation. It's going to happen. Jeanty's the focal point. Geno's 35, but good enough to facilitate the football. And I think get it to Bowers, make Bowers dangerous, keep defenses honest. And he's not good enough to carry the team by himself. So guess what? Jeanty will do it for him. He'll say, hold my beer. I'll do it myself. And Jeanty's going to take it to the promised land.
Hey, I'm Dom, and I drive fast cars, get hot chicks, and draft Ashton Jeanty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Jeanty stats all day, the other is for getting chicks.
So, Harvey, to me, walking into this situation, we'll get into the Judkins situation in a second, but I was just merely pointing out that Cleveland is a good spot in theory, but it's a bad organization. So give me Jeanty and LV. Wouldn't change it if I could go back. That was what I was trying to say. Because they love him. They love him. They respect him. They're building around him. Tom Brady's going to help. This is just a better situation. This is just a better situation. At the end of the day, doesn't matter what Cleveland has done. They've been good running the ball. This is a better situation. I like the Shador's in Cleveland. That would have made me feel pretty good if Jeanty was there. It would have been a great draft at the end of the day, but the Cleveland Browns screwed everything up. But getting Shador still is pretty damn good. Like they lucked out. They lucked out. You got to give them some props for taking him, but good God, this is a disaster. Harvey's in one of the top 3 landing spots for an RB. Like if we were trying to, sort out the pecking order of before the draft, what were the best spots? It was LV is 1, Cleveland was 1, Denver was 1, Washington was quietly 1. These were the good spots to land in if you wanted. And then you had, the Chargers, you had the Bears. Those were in the top group of best spots, but they were at the bottom for me. I didn't think the Chargers were the best spot. For those that say that they're elated that the Chargers drafted Hampton when it happened, when you're staring at Najee, you wanted him to have a completely, no competition free environment for his rookie year. You're lying to yourself if this is, you're convincing yourself, you're talking yourself into the spot. And in fairness, I'm telling you that I, in hindsight, like the Raiders more than Cleveland, and I wouldn't press the button. And maybe you wouldn't either now. Maybe you're like, you know what, I've digested it. I wouldn't press the button and move Hampton out of LAC. And I respect that. But you just can't say that this was on the surface level, on face value, the best spot for Hampton. You would rather have had him in LV. You would have rather had him in Cleveland. You would have rather had him in a place where there was no competition. I'm not saying he doesn't destroy the competition in time, but it's definitely not the best spot. Denver was a better spot. Now, is Hampton a better player than Harvey? Maybe to some. But dare I say that, and I'm not saying this is going to be it. I know Harvey's going to be a moon man of some sort. Do I think he could be a supernova? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Scat's a supernova. We'll get to Scat in a minute. But Harvey's in one of the top 3 running back landing spots, and he was super crafty. We liked him before the draft. This is not a player that landed somewhere, and now we like him. We liked Harvey before Harvey was able to land in this amazing opportunity. We liked Harvey. Harvey has a very, very impressive college stat line that I can put up here for all of you to gander at, because this guy is a phenomenal player that scored massive amounts of touchdowns. He's 5'9", 208. He's got a ton of grit and ability, some shake and bake, his jump cuts, his contact balance. Everything about this kid is phenomenal. And while he didn't blow away the wide receiver statistical categories here, it comes down to, did they use him the right way? This is kind of like when Walker came out. Kenneth Walker, hey, he's never going to receive the ball ever. He didn't catch a ball in college. And Walker, it was all about his usage. Harvey's the same thing. Harvey's fine. Harvey can really thrive as a receiving back. This is his game logs, or his career stats. Look at this mother freaking career stat. Let me put a red circle on here so you can follow along. If I can find one. Let me see if I can grab one here. Hold on. Let me grab one from the screen here. This is just an unbelievable career stat screenshot that we're going to go over here. Okay, so in 2024, the man averaged 6.8 yards per carry. The year prior, 6.3. The year prior, 6.7. He's a monster. 1577 rushing last year with 267 receiving. That ain't bad. 20 receptions. Yards per catch were great. 13.4. 3 TDs. This man had 25 touchdowns total last year. And he had 18 total the next year. Not an anomaly of any kind. And even his yards per carry, he's consistent as hell. Just a remarkable stat line. This kid is going to be something special in Denver. And dare I say that Sean Payton went after him. Sean Payton wanted him. Sean Payton sees something in him. And there is no player that went from rags to riches faster than Harvey, RJ Harvey, who in Dynasty, there is some Vader. He's 25 years old. Ziggy, volume 10. Ziggy, how old is RJ Harvey?
RJ Harvey was born on February 4th, 2001 in Orlando,
That's
Florida,
not, he,
US. By the way, you have a new notice.
Ziggy, how old is RJ Harvey, the running back? Son of a bee, man.
Skeeter.com. RJ Harvey is 24 years old as of March 2025.
I don't trust him. Let me get his birthday. RJ Harvey, age. 24 years old, was February 4th. There's a concern. He's 20, not, I say 25, he's 24. 24 years old, not 25. 25 will be a lot scarier. 24 is not ideal from a dynasty perspective. And I think this is where you're going to have a lot of dynasty stat sheet geeks are going to be like, you can't, the age of prosperity at a 24-year-old running back rookie is so down and it's not going to happen and blah, 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 blah. I mean, Harvey's going to be fine. You're talking about playing at age 24, playing at age 25, because he's 24. He just turned 24. Playing at age 24, playing at age 25, playing at age 26, playing at age 27. And then, his final playing at age 28, where we're worried about him. 5 years. 5 years is a long time before you start panicking. And I in a redraft sense, I'm not even considering it. In a dynasty sense, I don't really care. I don't really care. The thing that's important to me is that it's Sean Payton. Sean Payton turned Alvin Kamara into a monster. Sean Payton knows how to get the equal parts passing or receiving and rushing out of a running back. Sean Payton's the one that said, you don't think Kamara will work? Your boy said Kamara would be a top 5 running back, not top 5 rookie, top 5 overall running back before he took a snap. I said it on CBS Sports Radio when he was drafted, and everybody laughed at me because he went into a very crowded running back room. I think Ingram was in the running back room back then. I think Adrian Peterson was still on the roster when Kamara was drafted. It was very muddy, very cloudy. And so we're not doing a rookie mock right now. I'm doing breaking down the rookie running backs. We're not going into a mock draft trying to get people into a mock, Farb. Calm down. Okay, so Harvey, to me, by far and away the RB4 based on volume, based on how much work he's going to get, based on the love that Sean Payton has for an RB, based on how Sean Payton can turn a player like Harvey into a Kamara-type running back. This is going to be a monster. If I had to guess a stat total, I think he's going to have over 1,000 yards. I don't know how much, but 1,000 rushing, 6 to 7 touchdowns on the ground. So 6 to 7 TDs. Probably something along the lines of 350 to 400 receiving. And then, give him whatever TDs will make it a 10 total. So 10 total touchdowns for this rookie, 100 plus rushing, probably something around 13 to 1,400 total yards. That is like a safe floor for him because the volume is going to be there. Now, could he potentially be some sort of 1,500 plus total yard player right away because of what Sean Payton's capable of doing in terms of making him the next Kamara? Absolutely. That's why this is one of the safer running backs and why going into a rookie draft when everybody's just completely locked in on Jeanty as they should be, Henderson as they should be, Hampton as they should be, and then they start contemplating Judkins over Harvey. They contemplate a potential Scatabo, which we can argue why that's tempting, over Harvey. And then the receivers, Ted McMillan and Hunter, and then some people might take Tyler Warren over Harvey. There's a lot of reasons that Harvey could fall not only to RB4, so your 1.4, you're locked in on Harvey, but your 1.5, you're probably locked in on Harvey. Your 1.6, you're pushing it to where somebody's going to like this kid. You could lose him, I suppose. But I would say where you start getting dangerously close to counting on not having Harvey available is when you get to like 1.7 and beyond. That's when you should start saying, okay, maybe I need to trade up. So Harvey's your target. You want 1.6. You'd be happier with 1.5. This is where it's going to get, I think, a little wild up in here because we got a lot of Judkins fans. We have people saying Judkins should be 1 on here. Come on, bro. Judkins ain't 1. He ain't 1 on this list. If you want to argue Judkins is 2, I understand you, but I don't agree with you. If you want to argue that Judkins is 3, I understand you very much, but I don't agree with you. If you want to say that Harvey's not as good as Judkins, that Judkins is your 4, I understand you, I forgive you, but I don't agree with you. I think that Judkins is a contemplation here. And so not only do I understand you, but it makes a ton of sense, and I could actually argue it back and forth. But what I'm going to do is going to piss a lot of people off. But Cam Scatabo is special. And Cam Scatabo, to me, is a player that, look, he goes into this giant situation where I know you've got a running back in Tracy that played very well, but he fumbled the job away at the end of the year. They trusted him again, but they had to. I don't know. He's also an older player. Ziggy, how old is Tyrone Tracy?
Tyrone Tracy Jr. is 25 years old and was born on November 23rd, 19...
So he turns 26 during this season, which is wild. That is wild. 26 during the season. So Tyrone Tracy doesn't scare me at all. And I think Cam Scatabo falls into a situation where you've got Malik Neighbors stretching defenses downfield. He's the number one and only concern for opposing defenses. Cam Scatabo has been on my radar for the entirety of the offseason. We've wanted him to go to a very, very, very good location. He did go to a very, very, very good location. And this is his backfield. Even if it's not his backfield right away, let's say, there's some sort of committee, it will be his, and he'll get enough work that it's not a problem. It's not going to be a problem for him to start off slow. The situation is going to be so that this kid is given ample opportunity to, even in a limited role, to roll him out, let's say, in a slow capacity, still could score a touchdown in, every other game. He could have 5 touchdowns in the first 6-7 games, even slow rolled out. I really think that this is the best environment he could have landed in. Turning 26 years old Tyrone Tracy as a sophomore, fumbled the job away, 2 crucial mistakes to lose games. There's a lot of reason to say that the Giants have already moved on. They couldn't afford to put anybody else in there. He was the best that they had. This is a great spot. And their quarterback situation is going to get better in time. So 1 year from today, the starting quarterback for the New York Giants might not even be on the roster. So this is a pretty damn good, crazy, amazing landing spot. One could even argue he's number 4. And he's so versatile that they're going to throw to him. They're going to run him. He can throw it. He can do everything. This is a multiple touchdown type of running back. Like, he's going to have those games, 2 or 3 as a rookie, where he has 2 touchdowns. He has 1 receiving, 1 running, or 2 running. He runs with grit. He runs with determination. He runs harder than anybody really you can find in the draft class. Truly, him and Jeanty are they're bulldozers. They're bulldozers. And Scatabo, you're just hoping to slow him down long enough so your friends can catch up, corral him, and you can either, ride him out of bounds like a pony, or you all grab a leg like it's The Walking Dead and you figure out a way to drag him down and you all just sit on him and hold him down in place. There's no other way to tackle him. If you think you're tackling him one-on-one, 1v1, it ain't going to happen, pal. This is a monster, Cam Scatabo, who, quite honestly, he's already a moon man?
The moon man, dropping loads in outer space.
I mean, this is proper respect.
Space Monsters.
I don't know that I need to get crazier than that, but I feel like it. I feel like getting crazier than that. I know a lot of the Judkins owners are pissed off and probably running their mouth in the live chat. I haven't really read much of it. But I imagine, and just keep in mind, those are angry, loud, but small group of people. Like, they sound like there's 15, 20 of them in the live chat right now, I'm sure. But it's really 2 guys, 3 guys that already have, Judkins. Or sometimes this is the psychology in fantasy football. Sometimes this is a case of people don't like change. And people do their evaluations. They don't like the unknown either. There's this is wild. It's wild when you think about this is why. Because you're probably like, why do people get so mad when they don't even own Judkins? Somebody says they come in defensive, like, how many shares of Judkins do you have? And they're going to go, none. But do you know why that makes sense? There are people and personality types where they need to have it all buttoned up. They need everything known right now. They hate the unknown. They hate change. They hate volatility. They've already done their analysis. They've already calculated the likelihood of their pick. They've already decided they're taking Judkins. Like they've decided to go buy a car tomorrow morning, and your brother calls up and says, I heard bad reviews on that car. And you're already set. You're like, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I'm getting it, Phil. I don't care. I'm getting it, Phil. Don't tell me about the bad reviews. I'm doing it. That's what people are doing here. Unless they already own them. And I'm not saying Judkins isn't a good talent. I'm not saying Judkins can't be the number 4 overall or even the number 3 overall running back. But here's the rub. Here's why Judkins isn't number 5. He's in a situation where he's got a guy that I ranked higher than him in Dylan Sampson drafted on the roster. So Judkins is no longer in Cleveland, one of the most amazing spots, by himself. They draft Dylan Sampson after, when nobody was expecting it, and now you got these two tugging at their fantasy values. Tug of war for fantasy carries. And I know Judkins probably heeds the road. I know it heeds it. Judkins is the guy they're probably planning on using a little bit more. But let me tell you something. This is the Thunder and Lightning. This is the Detroit running back stable. Sampson is going to be, whether you believe Judkins to be the inverse of it, like the Monty's going to be the better player in this situation than the Gibbs, and Dylan Sampson's the Gibbs. Dylan Sampson's the Gibbs. Judkins is the running back that goes up the gut. He's the Monty. Sampson is the Gibbs. And I just got to tell you, if you're confused or shocked as to why I don't have Judkins ranked higher, it's because I like Sampson more. I like Sampson more than Judkins. They're on the same team. What do you think I'm going to do? Do you think I'm just going to be like, oh, everybody else likes Judkins? That's not who I am. Now, I will say that I believe that Judkins has a little bit of an edge, obviously, in terms of the draft stock and everything. So there probably is a little bit more favoritism toward him. So you could easily rank him here. But I'm going to rank him tied because I like this man better. I'm not going to not put Judkins here. I certainly am not going to not put Judkins here. But I'm not going to put Sampson behind him. They're tied. Unfortunately, this is a cloudy situation. Unfortunately, you either need both or you just can't go through this without taking a gamble. Yes, Judkins is a gamble. He's playing with Dylan Sampson on the same roster. Yes, Dylan Sampson's a gamble. They drafted Judkins to be their starter. But then they saw Dylan Sampson there and they said, let's go Sonic and Knuckles on this mofo. Welcome to Sonic and Knuckles. There's no clarity here. I can't even give you an assurance of what Sampson's going to do. I can only tell you that Sampson, a.k.a. the Samsonite, a.k.a. the briefcase, is the better player. And you can believe me or not. You can dig in on this Judkins, hype, which I was not a part of anyway. But I acknowledge that Dylan Sampson can't be ranked ahead of Judkins. That shows that I'm not biased. If I was biased, I'd put Sampson here and Judkins downstream. But I understand what time it is. But I also understand that the talent of Sampson is going to make it impossible for this team to just give Judkins full workload and authority. Going to the next running back, I'm probably going to shock some people, I think, with this pick. I don't like Caleb Johnson. I don't love his landing spot. I don't love the player. I think he's mundane and one-dimensional, and he goes into a one-dimensional environment where they've got Jaylen Warren, who's supposed to be the starter, who Tomlin said like hours before the draft, we feel real confident as Jaylen Warren as our starter. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have that same confidence. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you that Brashard Smith and Blue have a lot more upside. I like Tootin. Tootin's right here. He's not missing. It's just Tootin is not in the best environment. Tootin's backing up two other running backs. Now, they could trade. He's in Jacksonville if you didn't know where Tootin was. They could trade away ETN. That's certainly a possibility. And then all of a sudden, Tootin becomes a freaking awesome pick. But I love Bigsby. Bigsby's my guy anyway. And Tootin doesn't work. I'm only cuffing Tootin now to Bigsby or to Bigsby ETA, depending on how big your roster is. But Tootin is a great player. Like, if he gets in there, he's going to toot. He's going to toot. I was a little disappointed he didn't get into a Washington Commander, full throttle, full send, could be the starter. Tootin's in a tough spot, but this is a guy that they drafted, so I'm a little excited about him, a little more so than ETN. ETN's going to age out soon, so in a dynasty, to grab Bigsby and Tootin, pretty smart. It's a pretty smart running back 3 play in dynasty. But if ETN gets traded, then Tootin goes to the moon. He'll be Tootin. Okay, it doesn't mean Bigsby doesn't go to the moon too. They could have that, definitely have that Rashad White and Bucky Irving value. Blue, I like Blue a lot. Blue is a pretty darn good running back, lands in Dallas, and I like Blue. The thing about Blue, though, is he's a smaller back. It's not like, I don't really understand why they didn't go get a bigger bruising back, which is what they've wanted for quite a while. I don't understand why they didn't do that. I'll put up his stature, but Jaden Blue is a good RB. He's 6 foot. He's pretty decent. What is he? 200 pounds? Yeah, no, he's fine. Never mind. He's fine. He weighed in much heavier than I thought. 200 pounds. He's fine. Scratch the small part of this. He does feel like a running back that could thrive in this situation. Javante's there. I still have hope for Javante. Yeah, I'm sorry. Blue weighed in good. 200 pounds is fine. I mean, that's not like super heavy, but I'm not worried about that. Look, we got Bucky Irving weighing 190 or under, so I'm not worried about 200 flat. That's fine. He's also 6 foot, but he looks a little smaller because he's 6 foot. He's stretched out a little bit. He's like a 5'9" running back that weighs 200 pounds. He's 6 foot weighing 200, so he just looks slender on the field. But the only concern with Blue, though, I will say, which is why I'm going to have him not at this spot that I'm putting him at. Let me just put his... Doesn't have a lot of track record. He just looks smaller on the field. Here's Blue's career stats. 700 yards rushing. 5.4 a pop at Texas. 8 touchdowns. Very solid player. I mean, he's really, really electric. 42 receptions. Good pass catching back. 42 receptions. 368. 6 TDs. Really excited about Blue. I think he could have landed in a better spot for him. Brashard Smith is the guy that I'm really, really, really excited about who lands in KC. Brashard, let me put his stats up. This is the guy that I'm really feeling it. And I know people are going to be like, Caleb, how's Caleb not your next running back? He's not. I'm not saying he can't get there. I'm not writing him off completely. I wasn't a fan before the landing spot. So why would I just force it in a one dimension Pittsburgh environment where you've got freaking Jaylen Warren, who's just anointed the starting role right before the draft. I'm not saying that doesn't change based on this draft selection, but it might not. Here's Brashard Smith, who's a converted wide receiver, by the way. This guy had in 2024 at SMU, 1332 and 14 touchdowns, 5.7 a carry. The only concern would be he runs like a receiver because he is a receiver. They converted him, but and this doesn't always end well. But he's going to KC where they throw the ball a ton. They can throw the ball. This is good for me in my evaluation because this landing spot, in terms of the way I look at Brashard Smith as a scary to bank on prospect because he converts from wide receiver. So look, 9 carries in 2023, converts to wide receiver. 235 carries right away. Like, what's the injury risk, right? Played well, 13-32, 5.7, 14 TDs. Look at his receiving. 39 receptions for 324 and 4 touchdowns. Guy had 18 touchdowns at SMU. Real good player. The reason I love his landing spot, which kind of curbs and makes me feel a whole lot better. Caleb, a 3-down back, Fred. No one's arguing that he can be, but he's not going to be. Because Warren's not going away. So your whole hope and dream, Fred, of this is what I've decided. My brother called me and told me not to take Caleb Johnson anymore. I'm doing it. I already decided. Fred, you better start looking around. SMU running back Brashard Smith lands in the best spot to alleviate my concerns. I really like the idea of him going and being such a receiving threat for Patrick Mahomes, being the third down back, getting a lot of the first down work. We can't trust KC with their RB stable anymore. We know that. So this is a free shot in the dark. No one cares about Brashard Smith. No one's drafting Brashard Smith. No one even considers him a starter, and he probably won't start. But at some point, this is one of those home run stashes that if Pacheco gets hurt, or when and if Pacheco gets hurt, Brashard Smith could be a freak of nature, rags to riches player. What happened to Harvey's value? What happened to Harvey's value on draft day could happen in a similar fashion to Brashard Smith in fantasy when something goes awry or a change is made. I would say Blue, Smith, Caleb. We'll even put Caleb in this category. These are all really close calls. I would probably say Tootin's right below him because he's not a starter yet, but he's right there. I would say Caleb Johnson, Brashard Smith, and Blue are all kind of in a three-way tie for 8th place. This looks good to me. This looks right. This looks right to me. I don't think I'm missing anybody as I'm spitballing this. Hampton, Scatabo, Harvey, Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Brashard, Blue, Devin Neal, New Orleans Saint. Kamara's not relinquishing to Devin Neal. Where's one upper? Remember one upper? You're gonna pay. Not ranking Devin Neal higher. Devin Neal isn't even my top 15 running backs. Where are you at, one upper? I don't think you're ever calling again unless that challenge makes you call. You've got Jarquez Hunter, who's a really solid handcuff, but he is a handcuff right now. Jarquez Hunter is the cuff to own with Kyron. Remember the Corum experiment? The Corum experiment is done. Jarquez Hunter walked into the facility and he walked up to Blake Corum and said, "You're in my chair. Get out of my chair." And does this look like the kind of man that you're going to say no to? Look at him. He looks like he ate your breakfast and took your mom out and brought her home after midnight. That's what he's going to do to Corum. He's going to walk up to Blake Corum, say, "You're in my chair." And Corum's going to say, "Yes, sir," and get out. And he's like, "I'm taking your mom out and I'm bringing her home after midnight." And Corum's going to go, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." This guy's taking the job over. Bulldozer, ready to rumble. Running back 2 in LAR, and a must cuff to Kyron walking into 2025. Now, Kyron's not getting unseated by him, but if Kyron gets hurt, Hunter's going to eat. He's going to hunt. So understand how much we love Hunter without not loving Kyron. Those things can coexist. All right, one upper did actually call in. Here he is. One upper. I don't see. Let me see where Devin Neal is. Devin.
Oh, he fell into it. Oh, he went to a good spot, Smitty. Listen, hold up. Who's behind him and Kamara? How old is Kamara? How injured is Kamara?
Well, Kamara just signed his new deal.
Okay, how old is he? Ain't he pushing 30?
Yeah, but he is a hybrid running back that could linger for 2 years. Even if he's not a top 5 running back anymore, he could linger for 2 years. He could be a thorn in the side. Look, there's a reason Devin Neal didn't get drafted until the very end of the draft. Stop it. He almost didn't get drafted, bro. His draft capital is garbage. They don't have any high investment in him at all. Stop hanging on to this one. Take your L, bro. Take your L like a man. Take your L like a man and stop acting like this 47th round pick is going to just have the most amazing draft. You're just hanging on like a thread. You won't let go. You won't let go. Where do you rank Devin Neal in his New Orleans landing spot with his bad draft capital? What's he, running back 2? What do you have, running back 3? Running back 4?
I rank him. No, I don't have him that high. But listen, I have him in better spots than some of those other guys. Listen,
like who?
This was a really bad draft.
This wasn't a really bad. Whoa! Really bad draft for running backs. Explain yourself. What do you mean a bad running back draft for running backs? What are you talking about?
Listen, these guys fell in bad spots.
Okay, start. Hey, start. Start. Let's go one by one. Jeanty, LV, LV, bad spot or good spot?
No. Good.
Henderson, New England, good spot, bad spot.
I say
Okay.
good spot, not great.
Chargers,
spot,
Hampton, good spot, bad spot.
Good
Okay, so
spot
for
for
three,
Hampton,
for three. Harvey, no running back on the roster. Is Harvey in a good spot or bad spot?
Where he go again?
Denver. There's nobody there.
Denver.
Good spot. Okay,
Okay,
4 for
good
4.
spot for
Okay,
Arkansas.
Scatabo, Giants, good spot, bad spot. Keep in mind,
Bad spot for
Why?
my
Why?
guy.
Why?
Bad spot for
why?
Texas. Because listen. Tyrone Tracy is
Dude,
a more
Tyrone
electric
Tracy-
back. He's more
Tyron-
elusive. He's more dynamic, and I think he's going to be the RB1.
4 for
Listen,
4, though.
now it's the
Hey.
agile guy, and then the
Hey.
power guy is like
Tyrone
second
Tracy could be your father, bro. He turns 26 this year. He could be your dad.
fiddle. He's not older than Kamara. He's
Almost.
not older than Kamara.
I think they might be twins. Look, okay. So let's just say you don't know what time it is with Scatabo. That's fine. We're 4 for 4. I'm just correcting your very bad statement that this is a bad landing spot draft for running backs. You went 4 for 4. The top 4 running backs are in good spots. What are you talking about, bro? Okay, so now we get okay.
No,
So
this is the
let's
top
pretend you
4.
don't see the insight and value of Scatabo in New York. Let's just take that one off the table. We'll give you a mulligan. Okay, Judkins is not in the best spot, not because the landing spot isn't good, but because Sampson's there to some degree. But you can't tell me you're still ranking Devin Neal ahead of Judkins and even
So look, listen, I'm high. I'm high on Sampson too. I had him ranked over Judkins, but now since both of them in the same spot, both of them is in.
so
the
both
really
of them
bad
below.
spot.
Okay,
Both
and
of them.
I just said why I didn't love them more than Scatabo Harvey because of that reason. But you like Devin Neal over Judkins and Sampson?
I will put Devin Neal over both of them.
Before I
Devin
hang
Neal
up on
over
you
both
for
of
that
them.
ridiculous comment, I'll give you the floor real quickly because I want you to be able to speak.
No.
Go ahead. What else did you want to say before I hit the button? Because that was a
All right.
hang up button worthy answer.
All right, thank you. Don't forget in Cleveland, they still got Jerome Ford. I'm a little disappointed in that because now his value is kaput, right? But they still got Jerome Ford. Look at the personnel in New England. I mean, in New Orleans. All they have is Alvin Kamara and Devin Neal. That's it. And Devin Neal is more of a first and second down runner than Alvin Kamara is too. Alvin is getting longer.
Whoa.
He gets
Finish
injured
him.
from time to time, and they want to lighten
Call
the
terminated.
load off of Kamara. And
Come on, man. There's certain things I'll let somebody say, but Devin Neal's a better first and second down back than Alvin Kamara? You talking about, bro? Oh my God. All right, 812 caller, you're live. I couldn't handle that anymore. One upper, call another time when I can take it. When I'm not on 5 hours of sleep over 3.
Yeah, he was reaching with that Devin Neal.
He was reaching.
That's crazy that he.
I'm surprised he even defended it. Like, he's just dig. There's some people that dig a hole, then they I don't know what it is. Like, I try and make that everybody's number one skill set come up from my channel. If you learn anything from me, adjust and adapt. Who gives a shit what Steve in your league thinks of you? Don't care what Maggie from accounting in your work league thinks of you. Just make the decisions to win. Winning's better than you changed your mind on a player. You come out with a championship and the money, no one's going to look at you at the water cooler and go, hey, champ, changed your mind on Devin Neal. Am I right, guys? Am I right? You won a championship and you got a whole bunch of money. No one cares that you adjusted and adapt.
Hey, number one, Smitty, I just want to say you're the best. But it's kind of echoing right now on the phone,
Wow.
right? But
I can't be
as
perfect.
far as on the Quinshon Judkins versus Trevi, as far as on the Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, the one thing that I do like about Quinshon more than Dylan Sampson is that he's already produced in a a combination backfield like with Travion Henderson. I mean, he's had 3 seasons straight with 1,000 yards plus. He's had 14 and 16 touchdowns.
So
in all 3
let me just get this straight. I'm not trying to rip.
And then what I also like is he produced in the playoffs against the best of the best.
Okay, that's a good point. I like that point. But what I don't like really is that he already knows how to not be first. He's good at being second, or he's good at sharing he's good at sharing his toys. Like, he's never been given the responsibility to have his own toys, so he goes into this environment. He's really good about sharing his toys. That's not really a good quality to me. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, if you put two guys in a backfield, what's he not going to pout about it? Like, you either produce when you're on the field or you don't. You know, it's not like because you shared carries successfully before.
Well, I mean, he has.
I know,
produced.
but I'm just saying.
He had like what I see is that, like, he went to Ole Miss, right, and he did it for 2 seasons as the number 1 lead back, and he produced then. But, you know, he wanted to challenge himself and go to, you know, a bigger school in Ohio State. And he challenged himself by going, you know, into an RB room with Travion Henderson, a guy that, you know, everybody loves. You know, I know that you're high on him. And he challenged himself by just trying to produce, and he did. And he had, I mean, multiple touchdowns in the playoffs against, you know, the top defenses in the league. I just think that that's something you can't dismiss. And
well,
I think that
I got him ranked
Sampson,
high,
even though he was in the playoffs.
I got him ranked, you know, still in the, you know, it's not like I'm completely disrespecting him, but so I agree. You got to give him credit. You got to recognize the talent, but this is Cleveland. And he doesn't, and I'm not saying he can't catch the ball. I am one of the few people that will go to bat for players that I believe, watching them in drills, watching their workouts, watching combines, where I can say, no, don't listen to any of this. He doesn't catch the ball nonsense, because sometimes it's just the usage. You're like, that Trey Henderson was used in that role, so they didn't need Judkins for it. But at the same time, he doesn't come in, if we're talking about resume, he doesn't come in with a lot of pass catching skills. Sampson's going to take over in that regard, in my opinion. And if let's say Shedeur, if you're a believer that Shedeur is going to be the QB that climbs into the saddle, if you believe Shedeur is going to be the QB that climbs into the saddle, Shedeur is going to want to check down to Sampson before he checks down to Judkins, in my opinion. And I think Sampson becomes an integral part of the offense later in the year. I think Judkins probably does get more work between the tackles. They drafted him ahead, so they clearly have a little bit of a preference. But I think Sampson is so electric, and his ability to break off big runs is going to keep him on the field enough to be a thorn in the side to make Judkins one-dimensional. I don't think his college one-dimensional type of game, which it was one-dimensional, whether it was Travion Henderson that was making it that way or not, it was one-dimensional. It wasn't big passing yards or anything like that, receiving yards. I think he stays one-dimensional. And in fantasy, it's hard to be a top 5, top 7, top 8 running back when you don't catch a 40, 50, passing, catching season. So I think Sampson becomes more valuable even with less rushing yards. But look, this is a debate we can have left and right all day long. And there's no way I'm going to come out here and say I guarantee that Sampson's going to be better than Judkins, or that Judkins can't be amazing with Sampson on the roster.
Right.
But it's a big red flag. It's a huge concern. There's no way you can sit here and look at Judkins and Sampson and go, Judkins' spot is the best. His landing spot was great. His situation became complex. So I don't want anything to do with it. I'll take Sampson at a discount.
I guess my whole point is Quinshon Judkins, as far as like who you're gonna pick between, like Dylan Sampson probably has a higher ceiling,
especially
right?
in PPR.
But Quinshon Judkins has proven that he can produce still in a two-back room.
That doesn't matter. I think you're looking at this thing all wrong. That doesn't matter. It matters per attempt. What's he doing per attempt? It doesn't matter that he's sharing the carry. Like, you're almost saying like he's not gonna put up a tantrum or something. When Judkins is giving carries, he's produced. When Dylan Sampson's giving carries, he produces. I don't think sharing the backfield is going to be a prerequisite of success for these guys. Dylan Sampson is a freaking monster. And while I will say that Dylan Sampson wasn't really catching more passes than Judkins really at the end of the day, I do know that is a strong skill set of his. But he had 22 rushing touchdowns and 1491 on the ground. He had 5.8 yards per carry in college at Tennessee in his 2024 season. I just think he's going to get on the field.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for them to take him off the field. And I do believe they drafted him more likely to be the receiving back.
But I mean, like Quinshon Judkins, he had only 194 carry attempts, and he still put up, 14 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards.
But the whole notion that he's shared a backfield before is meaningless, because at the end of the day, you're given touches. How do you produce? And at the NFL level, every running back's in a committee. So there's no he knows how to fit in here. It doesn't really do anything for me. Judkins has no advantage over Dylan Sampson because he played in a split backfield. I just think that at the end of the day, which one's more talented? Before the draft, I had Sampson above Judkins every time. There was never a ranking I had Judkins above Sampson. So given they're on the same mother freaking team, I understand in my I'm not biased. If I was biased, I'd say Sampson's gonna, outscore him. He's gonna take the job from him. I don't think that's the case. I think that they drafted Judkins ahead, so they have a preference.
I don't think so.
So
either.
What?
I said I don't think so either. Yeah, it's not gonna eliminate Dylan Sampson. I feel like this rookie season for both of them is gonna be, they're gonna split the carries and.
So who shines more?
See who produces
or do
more.
they just continue to split the backfield, which is certainly a possibility? Or does Judkins get injured, or does Sampson get injured, and then opens the door to one of them, and then they take off? Certainly a possibility. All right, bro, hold on one second. Let me set this on the phone. I'll come right back to you. Let me go over to Travis, who's live, and then I'm going to head over to the 857 caller. So Travis, go ahead.
With Judkins, he's not truly like a home run hitter. He doesn't have that huge burst. He's a tough runner, but I kind of see Judkins possibly ending up more like a Brian Robinson, where he does, good things, but he can't quite break through his great. Brian Robinson's a really nice back, and I think Judkins might have a better ceiling if he still hasn't played in the NFL. But I think people may overrate him a bit because he had Travion Henderson in the backfield with him. He wasn't having to carry that load all the time. He wasn't having to be on the passing downs and all that. Hello?
Smitty, you there? I don't think I hear Smitty. Travis?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm here. We might have got booted off.
Travis,
hey, Travis,
I'm sorry.
Quick,
I guess my mic was. Hold on, my mic was having issues. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. Go.
Oh, okay.
What I was going to say was, I think to Travis's point, we have a situation where, look at Achan. Achan was better when he wasn't. I'm going to merge this call, so when it cuts out for a second, it's not that you can't hear me. I'm just merging. When you have a running back like Achan, you don't want Achan getting all the work up the gut. Achan getting all the work up the gut can lead to a diminished, output. So I think that Judkins could be in a sense, you're just assuming if he gets more carries in college, he's a better player. Maybe he's not. So I don't know. I really believe that at the end of the day, anybody excited about Judkins having Dylan Sampson on the roster is just justifying it. I understand that. We all justify things, but at the end of the day, there's no good here. This is not a good thing. Unless one of them gets hurt, it's not good. And that's why I don't have Sampson higher. That's why I'm telling you that Sampson's ranked behind Judkins slightly. But I do believe that talent may shine through and eventually he grabs the job, or they just continue to be both very valuable until one of them gets hurt or something. But I'm not being biased because I'm unfortunately putting a limit on how much I can love Sampson right now, because it sucks. It's not a great situation. I will say it does feel a little weird to have both of them ahead of Caleb Johnson, given Caleb went to Pittsburgh and everyone's expecting him to get boatloads of carries. But then I just kind of remind myself, am I the only logical one having the conversation when people are coming at me with this? when you say Jaylen Warren's not going to go away. Like, Jaylen Warren might be a bigger threat to Caleb Johnson than Sampson is to Judkins, or Judkins is to Sampson. I mean, you're talking about a running back that was just hours before the draft anointed the starting role. Tomlin said, we're very comfortable with him as our full-time running back. And he's a good receiving back, ready to take over. It sucks he keeps getting stepped on. But if there's any running back in this draft class that I'd rather have, there is no running back I'd rather have go to Pittsburgh so that Warren could step over him. Caleb Johnson's the smallest, most minuscule running back on this board. I'd even rather have him in Pittsburgh for Warren's sake than Tootin. Tootin would, I think, be better than Johnson there. Brashard Smith, I think they'd ruin him, so I don't think he'd thrive in Pittsburgh. Blue, I don't know. Blue could do good there, I guess, but Caleb Johnson is the worst of these top, 7, 8, 9 running backs.
Protected at the front door.
Go ahead, Travis, real quick, and then I'll go to the other caller, and then I'll go back to the first caller. Go ahead, Travis, real quick.
Yeah, just quick on Warren, just real quick. He's pretty good in that missed forced tackle stat. And like you said, he makes guys miss. He is good in the passing game. He's already in that system for several years, so they trust him in that system. So with me, Warren, it's always just been, if he can stay healthy, he's going to have a big role. And whenever he gets, 3, 4, 5 games to start getting rolling, he looks really good. So you definitely can't write him off. I mean, there might be plenty of work to go around, but Warren could easily step on Caleb Johnson.
I'm not a big fan. I've never been a big fan of Caleb Johnson, and I thought for sure Caleb would be playing together. I thought there was. Let me merge and rock out real quick. I thought there was no way possible that this was going to be a situation. If there was anything that shocked me more in this draft, I don't think there was. The thing that shocked me more, Shedeur was number 1. Okay, that was shocking. That was disrespectful. It was insane. Just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But the second most shocking thing would have to be the Bears not taking a top 5 or 6 running back. I would have bet my life if my life was on the line. It's even just double my money.
Really
Yeah, I would have bet my life that Caleb Johnson or that the Bears would have at least taken Scatabo or Caleb Johnson or somebody. I cannot believe that Ben Johnson didn't grab not just one of the top 6 running backs, but not 2 of the top 7. It's so shocking to me. Really, really crazy.
It's like last year when the Cowboys said that they liked Brooks. Once Brooks was gone, they just wrote off the whole draft for running backs. It's almost like maybe they figured they would get a Hampton or a Trey Young, but once they were gone, they were just like, "Oh,
that was crazy."
Nope.
All right, let me go over to this other caller that's been waiting here for a while. The 857, then over to Rockout, then back over to the 812 caller. So Rockout, go ahead. Then 857, then 812. Go ahead, Rockout.
Yeah, I don't think it's so clear cut when it comes to Caleb Johnson, because 1, Warren's still there, and 2, you never know what Arthur Smith is doing there, and with Arthur Smith, you kind of have to have a clear cut situation. Any of his options, he'll use them.
Yeah. Who do you like the most landing spot wise? That's not the obvious. What is something you kind of like that you didn't really expect to happen in terms of the RBs?
I like Harvey.
He was the biggest rags to riches. He went even on my rankings, and I liked Harvey a lot. We did a pre mock draft show. We did a bunch of different things, and Harvey's been one of those guys where he could be a rags to riches guy for sure. But Harvey went from, even on my rankings, I don't even know where. It was so far down. He went literally from outside the top 100 or something to being. Where does he go? Where does Harvey go in a draft? Does he go in round 3 or 4 now in a redraft? I mean, am I getting a little overzealous thinking that Harvey could go where Hampton's going? I mean, is that a possibility? Hampton's going to go in the third round.
Maybe like
Hampton
4.
could go in the second round.
No, he'll go lower than Hampton.
What is ever?
Yeah.
People are going to overvalue Hampton.
No more than 4.
I don't know. I think he could climb to the very top at least.
Like
Where does everyone think Harvey goes? There's going to be so much Harvey hype though, guys. Harvey's going to be I think it probably goes something like this. I would not take. Would I take Hampton in bottom of 3? I probably would on occasion, like I said in my Hampton video. I'd take Hampton all day long in 4, just for the people that think I don't like Hampton. I love Hampton. And best ball, I've taken so much Hampton, and I'm going to continue to. But do I take him in 3? I don't like that much. Sparingly. It's not an avoid, not a bust in 3, but a don't put all your eggs in one basket Hampton in round 3 because of the complexities of the situation. Hampton in the 4th is great. I'm fine with that. Hampton in the 5th, that won't happen unless you're playing with, at the nursing home when people are in comas. But even the auto pick might take him before 5, so you're probably still getting him in 4. But Harvey, I think he climbs to 4. I would pay 4. I wouldn't pay 3. Not yet. Maybe I would later, but right now I feel this feels pretty good. I feel like this is probably what we're looking at. Yeah. What does the chat think? And rock out, hang tight real quickly right there. Let me go over and ask this to the 857 caller. You're live. And where do you take Hampton and where do you take Harvey? And then ask me your question. You're live.
I take Hampton right after Jeanty. Because they had
is this Kyrie Boston?
We'd have last year J.K. Dobbins and Gus Bus. Because of them, they like made me the biggest Hampton fan on your show. Gus Bus and J.K. Dobbins. Just because they got Harbor. He wanted to run them dudes, and one was broke and the other was old. You got a broken running back, the old running back, running for a team that rarely wants to run the ball. And I had to get aggressive with you, Smitty, because that's what it is.
I'm not feeling threatened here. I don't feel any aggression. But I will.
No, I'm just saying it is what it is. Like, you don't want to battle over this because I'm trying to tell you that Hampton is the second best running back in the draft.
First of all, you ain't got nothing.
I love Jeanty.
You want to challenge
Henderson
me to a
second.
battle? I don't think so, Kyrie Boston. Number 1. Number two, I've already told you why this is not a debate you can even have.
Henderson went to the Patriots.
These are the same
Why do you
situations.
think I'm standing up for Hampton? Because I believe in what I'm saying.
That's fine. That's fantastic.
Like, you don't want no one to believe in what they're saying.
I didn't say that. You're calling into my show. I'll ask your opinion. I'll ask your opinion. You can think whatever you want. I don't need you to agree with me. But to act like Hampton can't be as good as Henderson, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind if you think that this is a locked and loaded, you can't debate it type of thing. There's just no way, and you're not going to out-debate me, Kyrie. It ain't going to happen, pal. You get me coffee. I don't get you coffee. Okay?
They're the best team. I'm talking about for running the ball, Smitty. We talk about running the football.
So is Najee and Ramondre, are they kind of similar situations? Let's see how biased you are.
I feel like Najee isn't better than Ramondre.
I don't
know.
Why do what makes
for some
you think
reason
that?
You feel like Najee is better than Ramondre. But at the same time, I feel like they're the same.
Okay. You just said they weren't.
And I feel like no, I feel like Najee is Gus Bus. And I feel like you trying to bring a dude who's better than J.K. Dobbins down.
Okay, so when
that's cool. That's cool because I don't want no one to drive Hampton.
Kyrie, you clearly aren't listening to the show. Because I made it so abundantly clear for people like you that were going to call in and act like I don't like Hampton. You know what's going to piss you off right now? This is going to piss you so off right now. I like Hampton. Hey, ready? Are you ready? You ready to get pissed off? I like Hampton more than you do. I like Hampton more than you do.
More than Hendy?
I like Hampton more than you do.
If you don't like him more than Henderson, you don't like him more.
No, that's not true. You just don't real. You just
You
don't
like
realize.
him more than
Let
me
me
if you don't- if you ain't
explain something to you. Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you. I like. Look.
the Chargers.
Let me.
as a
I've
landing
already
spot.
explained
You
this.
don't like
I've
the
already
Chargers.
explained this at the beginning of the show, but you clearly didn't listen. You
I don't agree
clearly
with
didn't
you,
listen.
though.
This
No
is
matter
where
what you
this is
still
where
don't
this is
agree.
where I like Hampton. This is where
This
you
is
like
where me and you
Hampton. This
have
is
a
where you like
discontinuous
Hampton.
through
The
the
only
whole
difference
year.
is I also like Henderson up here.
I love
I like
Hampton.
Henderson and Jeanty
I
up
love
here.
Hampton,
I
but
like
I love his
Hampton right
landing
here.
spot
You
even
like Hampton
more.
right here.
I love
You
the
just can't get
Chargers
behind
more
it.
as a landing
You just
spot
can't
than
get
you
behind
do.
it because you think someone can't like Henderson more than Hampton and still like Hampton more than you.
No, I like the Chargers. I love the Chargers.
Let me tell you something.
Spot.
I like $100 bills. I like $100 bills more than you.
As a landing spot, and you can't see the vision. You can't see it, Smitty. I can see it. You can't see. You can't see the Chargers.
You're about to get 3 X's, Kyrie. You're getting really close. You're getting really close to 3 X's.
I love Henderson. I love Henderson going in the
Where are my 3
Patriots.
X's?
But what I'm trying to say is, your boy Hampton's in the best landing spot.
Call terminated.
Kyrie, you gotta be respectful.
It's really no, it's fine. It's fine. The X's take care of it. The X's take care of it. We're just waiting for 3 X's. It was like XX comment XX. He's crying XX LMAO X, and then it's boom XX.
I love it. I love his passion. I mean, I love that. He's
I knew
so
I was
invested
gonna
in,
piss him off.
You gotta take. But he's got to respect.
Well, the other thing is, in fairness, I'm yelling at him as much as he's yelling at me. But this is what I try to tell. I told you guys at the beginning of the show. I said there are going to be people that call in. There are going to be people in the chat that are going to act like I don't like Henderson. I'm sorry, act like I don't like Hampton. I couldn't have made it more crystal clear at the beginning of the show. Kyrie Boston clearly isn't listening, or he just forgot it. But I said, just because Henderson's above Hampton doesn't mean I don't like Hampton as much as anybody else. But I have to weigh out the situation. And when I told him at the beginning of the show, the middle of the show, tried to tell him when he was screaming in an irate fashion, that just because Hampton's got some roadblocks doesn't mean he doesn't conquer them by week 4, 5, or 6 like Gibbs did, and has Gibbs's rookie season that Gibbs had from week 6, 7, 8 on. And that puts him in a top. I literally said at the beginning of the show, Hampton could finish without being consistent in the beginning of the year even, could finish as running back 6 by getting volume from week 7 on. Just getting massive volume. And that makes him a monster in best ball because he's going to be fresh. He's going to get all of his work compacted into the like 7 on, week 6, week 5 on. And I'm not even saying that he can't.
Like, especially with where the Chargers are going. Like, I mean, Jim Harbaugh, like, they're going to be in the playoffs, and, they're going to save that, Marin Hampton. Like,
that's why
Gibbs, and how they utilize, like.
Hampton's going to be gold in best ball.
Yeah.
He's going to be gold in best ball. And so it's funny though, because it is funny that Kyrie, because I knew I was going to piss him off. I'm going to piss you off. I like Hampton more than you do. And he's going to be like, no, you can't like Hampton more than, if I like Hampton here and he likes Hampton here, let me put it right here. Here's Hampton. The only thing that makes him confused is just how can I like Hampton there when I also like Henderson here? I'll tell you how. I can like $100 bill more than Kyrie Boston can like $100 bill. Just because I like the 500 bill as well and I like it more doesn't mean he likes the $100 bill more than me. That's as simple as it is. People think I have to pick and choose. Because Henderson ranks above Hampton, I can't like Hampton as much as the average bear. Let me tell you something, and people that know me well know this to be very true. I love rookie running backs. I love rookie running backs. All 3 of these guys are monsters. That's why there's a tier break right there. And I think these guys could be really, really, really good as well down on this side. But these guys can all be top 10 running backs. So when Kyrie Boston hears me say, I like Henderson more, he thinks I'm crapping on Hampton. Did you hear him? He's constantly saying, you don't like Hampton. You don't like his landing. It's a complicated landing spot that will get worked out. I said that 7 times on the live stream. All right, hold on. I got to go around the phone line real quickly. Hold on. Let me just get over to, actually, you know what? We had other people hang up. They couldn't handle the yelling, I guess. If you don't like screaming and yelling, this probably ain't the show for you. 812. What is your name again, bro? I'm sorry.
My name's Joe.
I gotta get you in the system.
But I mean, all I gotta
type you in the system so I know when you call because I keep forgetting to do that. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, like you said, dude. I mean, rookie running backs, in my eyes, as far as fantasy, they win leagues. I mean, point blank, period. They really do. You know, whenever you find that rookie running back and you draft them and like they're on your team, I mean, that's just how I see fantasy. I mean, because people are scared to draft rookie running backs, or they're hesitant to for whatever reason. But you know, whenever you strike gold with those rookie running backs, they win leagues. I mean,
look, you could go, you could essentially go back to the mock draft board. You could essentially go Hampton, Harvey, Scatabo, and I've done this in a lot of best ball drafts on Underdog. Promo code Smitty. Hit the link that I'm going to drop in the live chat right now. It's in the description of the video. Code Smitty also gets it done. You can get up to $1,000 in bonus credit by just getting on over there, dropping a deposit, $10 minimum, and Code Smitty gets it done. Get on over there. But what screen was I at? I think it was over on. Oh, I was on this screen right here. You could essentially go like light hero or light zero RB through 2 rounds, abort, and go Hampton, Harvey, Scatabo, and grab this like plethora of rookie running backs, and then maybe like one other player to mix in there.
Yeah, it's
Charbonnet,
like one of them's gonna hit.
A whole bunch of these guys, Bigsby, and you could go hero or zero through 2 rounds. So you could go Jamar Chase and whatever, or if you have let's say you have these close picks here like near bookends, you could go BTJ and St. Brown, or Neighbors false. Sometimes you go Neighbors and St. Brown, or Drake London and Neighbors, or whatever. CeeDee Lamb and Drake London, Hampton, Harvey. You could try all kinds of running back situations like that. But all right, real quickly, Travis, what else you got?
I'm trying to remember. Go to whoever else is on.
Rock
line.
out.
Come back.
Rock out. What's up, Rock out?
Yep.
What do you got? What do you hear? What do you say?
How you feel the Giants quarterback situation is going to play out, and also what do you think about Martinez to the Seahawks?
So Martinez to the Seahawks was an interesting running back landing spot. I don't think the draft capital was, what was it? Was it 6th round or was it 6th round? 5th round?
Martinez?
Yeah, 7th round.
Yeah, it might be
7th round. So I don't care about it at all. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean those guys can get cut. I don't know. The draft capital is not good unless they trade Walker. If it's an indication that Walker, could get drafted or traded, then all of a sudden he becomes a cuff. But then Charbonnet goes to the moon. Then we have you have this little number right here. If that happens, I mean, where's my Charbonnet button? Hold on. Where is that? Where'd it go? Jarbs. Oh, here it is.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk.
Warning, what you're about to see might be a little bit scary. You might want to turn away if you're squeamish, but this footage has been sent to us from a local Phoenix resident. Local authorities are trying to figure out what the sign means. It reads Sharb Season. Unclear as to what that is trying to reference, or if that's some sort of warning, and it's still undetermined where these flying objects BBQ are saying Harvey is going to get all the work. Definitely Harvey. Get Harvey'd. We're going to have that. Don't worry. Get Harvey'd. We might need Miss Robeson to get on that one. But yeah, as far as Martinez, I'm not scared about that one. As far as the New York Giants quarterback room, is that what you said? You're talking about Dart and all that. Look, I made it abundantly clear that landing spot is king. Landing spot could change the game. And to be honest with you, Dart wasn't my favorite quarterback at that 2 spot. I think he was right there for 3. Of course, Milroe was there too. And I like Milroe a little more, to be completely upfront, honest, and transparent. You guys know that anyway. I like Milroe and Sanders more. But Dart with Dable, Dart with Neighbors, Dart with Scatabo, that is now better than any other scenario you can cook up with the other guys. So at the end of the day, now if Milroe was starting in Seattle, let's say tomorrow, Dart was starting, Milroe was starting. I think there's a huge debate there, and I could swing back over in the Milroe direction for sure. But I think Dart becomes a better player now. This is my adjust and adapt moment for myself. I'm now looking at Dart and I'm saying Dart is a great prospect now. It is what it is. Situation's king. Situation's golden for him. So I'm all on board that helping neighbors. I don't know that he ever becomes somebody I'm drafting to be my starter. That's to be determined. But I think Dart is in a fantastic spot, and if he is the real deal, and if Dable believes he is, then Dart's going to climb to heights that I didn't expect before the landing spot, and that's just the nature of fantasy. I'm not going to know everything. There's not going to be every player I called. There's some things that are going to develop for me after the draft, after 1 week of football, after 7 weeks of football, in week 10. Like, not everything's transparent to everybody. Some people see things different at different times. For me, I like Dart in this situation. If Dart were to go to the Tennessee Titans, let's say, instead of Cam Ward, let's say the Titans traded down, they drafted Dart, you wouldn't have me drafting Dart at all. No, Dart throws nothing. But Dart in a Dable, New York, neighbors, Scatabo offense, it's kind of like you look at Goff. How good's Goff been propped up in his situation? How good was Brock Purdy that 2023 year with all that talent around him? So Dart could totally be a different player now. So I like it. Would I rather have Shador or Milroe there? Probably, but because the same thing could be applied to them. But Dart's in a good spot. You can't separate situation from player, and right now this guy's got a great spot. Great spot.
Yep.
All right, go back to Joe. Right? I get that right, Joe?
All right. Yeah. So first of all, I want to shout out BBQ for the gift of membership that he gifted me. That's awesome. Appreciate it, man. But so my first question is, like, Tyler Warren being drafted by the Colts, does that spark an interest in fantasy football at all? Like, being that there's no other really receivers that command a huge target share?
For sure. Because exactly. It's the Bauer situation.
Like Brock Bowers. I mean, he had Gardner Minshew as his quarterback, and who was I don't even know who the offensive coordinator was. So that's why. Specifically
because Warren is like Bowers. He's just you design stuff for him and you just get him the damn ball. If he was in a scenario where there was all these elite wide receivers, like even BTJ, for example, if he went to the Jaguars, I think the expectation for year one wouldn't be met. But you put him in a place where they have nothing but this kid, and he basically played receiver.
Yeah.
So they got nothing. They're going to throw the hell out of the ball to him. And I don't love his situation, but like you said, was Bowers' situation any better than Danny Dimes and AR5? Probably not. And while AR5 doesn't make great wide receivers, consistent at least, maybe he will. And I think at the end of the day, he's going to lean on Warren. And Warren's a pretty easy target. And like I said, if he's a design wide receiver, a design play wide receiver / tight end, they're going to design tons of plays for him so AR5 can get him the ball. So I really think he could have a really good rookie.
And Shane Steichen, I mean, he's a great offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. He was at Philadelphia. Yeah. I think he's going to be. I think Tyler Warren's going to be great in the red zone. He's going to be getting a lot of targets in the red zone.
Joey, thank you. Yeah, Joey, thank you for the super chat. Smitty, I'm sorry for all. This is all of a sudden, but I'm being offered. I don't care. You don't have to apologize for super chatting a $20 hauler on a fantasy question, bro. I'm being offered JMO, the 1.3, the 1.11, the 2.1 for CD Lamb in my slow draft right now. I need advice. Take your time getting to this. I know it's all of a sudden, bro. It's not all of a sudden. This is what we do. Give me CD Lamb. I love the 1.3.
All
I
day
love the
long.
1.3. We look at this running back board and we just say, like, in my draft, you get Hampton there. But I know Hampton will probably go 1.2 in most drafts. But let's just say for Henderson people or Hampton people, choose whichever one you think's better. Would you rather have that player or CD? CD's a receiver, the longevity of the position. I don't think at 1.11 as much as I like it. At 2.11, I don't care about that. 1.11, I like it. You could land a really good player. Like, what if Scat fell there? Now all of a sudden you got a whole different thing to weigh out. But at the end of the day, give me CD Lamb, bro. He's so consistent. He could be the number 1 overall wide receiver this year. He could be the number 1 overall fantasy football scorer. And I'm going to have a CD Lamb video coming out, Joey, that's going to make you feel better about this trade after you do it. And you're like looking for something to validate whether you made the right decision. Lamb is in the best situation for all wide receivers this year outside of Jamar Chase. It's safe. He's the only guy. Like, you could even say that T. Higgins and Chase Brown and the slow starts in the past and injury concerns could also make someone question, could Jamar Chase repeat? And the fact that a player that finishes on top never has a great season, or at least the same season that next year, you could even say that that's a thing that would make you be a little scared of Jamar Chase. But when it comes to CD Lamb, let me put Lamb's graphic up here. I'm trying to do a better job of having the guys I'm talking about on screen. But when you talk about CD Lamb, you're talking about a guy that is the focal point of the offense. He's the only guy really there. They're going to spoon feed him. Dak is a proven capable top 5 to 6 to 7 quarterback. I'm not saying he's there every year. And there's just no more safer target share and a good enough offense to keep defenses at least honest. And they're now going to be able to run the ball a little bit better with Blue. I think in time, Ferguson should be a little bit better. This should be a really decent offense, man. I feel like Lamb is very safe, protected, not only with the good quarterback that I think is a good quarterback. I didn't say he was a lead or a Hall of Fame or anything, but he's a good quarterback that's going to feed him tons of footballs. And he's also a quarterback-proof player. There's just no safer wide receiver outside of Jamar Chase in 2025. So that's going to be my take. I love it. Go ahead, Travis. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, so this doesn't so much relate to the question of the meeting, because obviously J-Mo is on the Lions. But we'll say, 2 weeks from now, J-Mo gets traded and he's on a team like Buffalo or Denver or something like that. Would you still be keeping CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess if J-Mo got traded, give me the scenario, traded to where? Because I don't know that there's a lot of spots where.
Denver.
Denver.
I'm trying to look at spots. Denver or Buffalo, maybe.
I still don't think I'm. As much as I like Hampton and Henderson, they're not locks. CeeDee Lamb is. I'm not saying that they bust or anything like that.
I agree.
Yeah, and J-Mo, there's a reason they're getting rid of him. He's a little bit of a problem. Could he be a guy that never fully flourishes because of the reasons that they want to trade him? Maybe. I don't know. I think Lamb. Would I try and give up a little less? Yeah, I would try maybe, but I would still be very, very, worried for you that if they pulled the offer, then you didn't have the opportunity. But it's a good situation either way. You shouldn't lose sleep over it if he did pull it. It's still a lot to give up. But I think I'd rather have Lamb. But what does the chat think? Would you rather have Lamb or would you rather have J-Mo, the 1.3, the 1.11, the 2 point whatever it was? Tell me what you would rather have in the chat. Let's give him a little bit of our J-Mo to the New York Jets. That wouldn't be good, West Side. That'd be horrible for his fantasy value. I don't know if it'd be horrible, but it's not improving it.
Lateral.
Yeah, at best.
Get lambed.
And then we got this super chat here real quickly. Let me get this super chat. I got a handful of super chats, I guess, that I haven't got through yet. Guys, if you don't mind muting real quick. I didn't know all of these came through. I'm so sorry. 12-team Dynasty Superflex rookie draft. Any decent wide receivers in round 3. Savion Williams would be a wide receiver you could potentially get in round 3. If I go to my The Fantasy Football Show rankings, which, Thomas, if you go there, I've already updated all the rookie rankings on my site. to include the updates from the NFL draft landing spots. And I would say scrolling down, Restrepo would be good. Restrepo would be good.
Yeah, he's with his guy.
Him and Cam Ward are united, and Cam Ward went to bat and said, "Give me strep throat. Get him over here." Jalen Royals is kind of intriguing in KC. Isaiah Bond is undrafted right now, but I gotta think he's gonna land somewhere good. A lot of people like this Isaac Tesla guy. He's the seventh option on the Lions. This is probably one of the wildest cases of people getting a little overzealous about a player. Like a cultic following is this Isaac Tesla. Somebody saw a couple of sleeper videos on him and they got excited about it, and everybody's spreading the word, and it's getting infectious. This guy's like the seventh option on the Detroit Lions without Ben Johnson, with Goff probably playing at a lesser capacity. Savion Williams I like a lot. Jalen Lane in Washington's interesting later, but I'd probably say, when you get that, Jaden Higgins will be gone. Burden's going to be gone, so you're not going to have any guys there. Receivers, Trey Harris will be gone. Jalen Royals maybe will be there. Isaiah Bond's interesting. Isaac Tesla is okay. Savion Williams is interesting. Jalen Noel is interesting. And Jalen Lane is interesting. Those would be guys that I think could fall very, very far. Past that, I don't know that it's a little hard to speculate that far into a draft because there's so much that has to do with flow. So thank you for that super chat. All right, guys, hang tight. Let me just go through these supers real quickly. I'm so sorry. Thomas, you still here? Hopefully you saw my answer, Thomas. Appreciate you. Cool guy says, any worries about the Raiders O-line? No, because, bro, like I've always said, I said this about the Washington Commanders situation, and it's different with a quarterback because you're spying the quarterback. You're not stacking the box as much. I think you'll have a lot of teams think they got to stack the box on Jeanty, but that's not going to work out really well when you have Brock Bowers, knifing down the field. They also draft a wide receiver, Besh, who a lot of people like, and he's going to be able to help out with Myers and making a pretty substantial, upgrade in the receiving room, and the potential passing environments is going to get a big uptick. It'll be efficient. It's going to be hard to stack the box all the time against Jeanty. I'm not worried about it. Just having a change will be better for the Raiders. Keep in mind that you can only play well when you have a good quarterback or good quarterback play, and it makes your offensive line rankings look really, really, really bad. It makes it look your efficiency on the offensive line looks horrible when you have no offense. And I think people judging last year and expecting that offensive line to not get better just off the mere fact that they have a better offense is going to be fun to watch people backtrack on that, just like they did with the Washington Commanders. Oh, JD5 is going to get crushed. No, he's not. It was fine. Everything was perfect. Just watching Scatabo's reaction to being drafted should tell you that this guy is going to rise to the top of the depth chart and never look back, says BBQ. He wants to do it live. Where would you put Bucky on this list just for comparison? Thanks, Smitty. Love the show. Alex, are you still here? Alex, appreciate you dropping this. I'm so sorry for the delay on this. Let's go over and take a look at the rankings. Where would I put Bucky on this list? That's a great question, and I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. This is just preference, and some people want to see Bucky do it and deliver. I personally believe in the Buckmeister. And if I had to, knowing what we know right now, I put him number 2. I'll put him above Hampton and Henderson. I love Bucky that much. I think Bucky's that good. Yeah. I could see somebody putting him after the 2 RBs, or if people that love Hampton and not Henderson putting Bucky 3rd. But to me, I'm not trading the 1.2 or the 1.3 for Bucky. And you can take that for a test drive around Lap City if you want. I don't care. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate you. Alex to the mother freaking moon. This one here from Calvin Cram. Calvin, nice to see your face, my guy. Calvin, you still here? I'm sorry again about the delay, boys. Hey, Smitty, Washington had been a top landing spot all season. Merritt, they met with him at the East-West Shrine Bowl, Team Pro Day, and top 30 visit. AP, Adam Peters, loves this guy. Top 10 rookie running back. I think he's a sleeper for sure. I think he's a sleeper for sure. I don't know if I'd go as far as to like put him on my top 10 rankings, but I think he's one of those rags to riches players that we got to watch and monitor. I do like him a lot. I'll have more on this, Calvin. He'll be on a different show where we're talking about deep dives of the rookies and maybe deep dives in general. Like, do you go with a deep rookie or do you go with a deep veteran call? I'll have some video action on that. So, Calvin, appreciate you. Calvin, you still here? Calvin, thank you, my boy. Calvin to the moon. Okay, let's go to this next one. Almost done with these supers. Just hang tight, guys. This one here from Megas. Megas, appreciate you, my boy. Aaron dropped a $20 hauler. I got to do that one first. $20 haulers get
alert,
immediate super attention. Aaron, appreciate you, my good man. Aaron says, Smitty, the Panthers killed it with the draft. How do you feel about Ted McMillan? Happy with that, Dan? Happy what Dan has done on both sides of the ball. The draft helps Bryce so much more. Like always, love the show. Appreciate you, Aaron, for the super chat. I like Ted McMillan. I like his landing spot. I think it's pretty good. I just haven't loved Ted McMillan. I don't love him as much as I loved Egbuka or as much as I loved Luther Burden. Luther Burden was climbing my board so fast walking into the draft, and especially walking into day 2 and then the Bears. And I'm not saying Luther Burden can't do well in the Bears in time. My whole reaction to that draft selection, people think I hate him now. I don't hate him. I just don't want him on a Mickey Mouse, roster or organization. I want him playing for a serious football team. And it worries me that Burden's going to get slow rolled out there and not be efficient or effective right away. I wanted Luther Burden to go like to New England or go to Denver or just be a number 1 wide receiver. Kind of what I'm hoping Isaiah Bond is in free agency right now. The Bond goes to Denver. I think Isaiah Bond in Denver would be beautiful. But we'll see what happens there. But I think McMillan has the best shot to be better than I expected in this situation versus other ones. So I'll say that. But am I drafting him in the top 4 rookie drafts? No. Top 5? No. 6, 7? Yeah. Is there upside there? Yeah. Could he be a T. Higgins in his best day? Yes. Do I think he could be a top 5 wide receiver? No. But I think he definitely could be, at a T. Higgins level, which is still, and I've said that for months and months. For people that think I hate Ted McMillan, I'm literally saying that in his best days, he's T. Higgins. T. Higgins is going like at 24, 25, 26, 27 overall. So I feel like I'm being pretty respectful. But for some reason, it pisses people off. Smitty, frustrated Niner, didn't fix the O-line. You guys didn't draft a single O-line, did you? I don't think the Niners drafted a single offensive lineman. Am I wrong on that? Can someone fact check that? Good Lord, what are they doing? Didn't draft Royals or Bond at wide receiver. Didn't draft Scatabo. What, Travis? The Niners. The Niners. I don't think they drafted one offensive lineman, did they? Or did they take somebody? Maybe they did.
Niners.
Did they take one lineman? At the end? At the end or something?
Yeah, interior offensive lineman, 240.
Oh God. So yeah, at the moment I stopped watching. Wow. Okay. So he says, I'm over Lynch and Shanahan. Horrible draft. I agree, Megas. I think it was a horrible Niner draft. I think at the end of the day, they reached on Michael Williams. And I think the whole Niner world was upset about it. This is the way Niner fans are. They're like, oh, what are we doing? We reached on. And then 5-10 minutes later, somebody drops a video and it's like, bang, bang, Niner gang. This is who we got. They put cool music to it, show them making some tackles and like, this guy's a dog. Like, it's a great fan base in that respect. But they think he's the best player ever now. They think Michael Williams was not a stretch. It was not. But and then I even reached out to my boy Raj and Vlad and C-Mac, and I even told them, I said, hey, boys, we're sitting here around 5. Why don't you take Shador? Like, Shador's better than paying Brock Purdy $50 million per year. Like, and you could even take Shador, and then you could walk up to Brock and say, guess what, Brock? You're going to play out this year. We'll even give you a $5 million raise, a 1-year adjusted deal. But Brock, we're going to put you on a 1-year adjusted deal raise, and you're going to play on it, and we're going to sign you a big lucrative contract if you can lead us to a Super Bowl and this, that, and the other. And if not, we'll just invest in Shador. And my Niner buddies are like, 5th round, you're not take a quarterback, you don't need it. Like, Why would you not do that? Just that leverage alone. You could literally roll him out. If Purdy wants to hold out, good. Hey, Shador, let's see if you do got it. But even if you gave me the Niners organization right now, I would have drafted Shador Sanders where the Niners could have grabbed him. I would have not signed Brock Purdy. I would have maybe still started Brock Purdy and see how it goes. But again, I put him in. This is a 5th rounder. There are so many teams that should have taken Shador Sanders as their backup quarterback in round number 5. It's worth it. People double up on running back at that point. There are teams that have like a Chase Brown as an example that were contemplating taking another running back in the 3rd, the 2nd. Like, what's wrong with taking a Shador Sanders in round 5, even if you got a Joe Burrow? I said this on another video. I said I'd take Shador if I was 32 teams in round 5. And I had people go, Smitty, doesn't make any sense. What if you already have a quarterback? That's such a stupid take. No, it's not. This is the most important position. And Shador was a top 1, 2, 3 overall prospect for a long time. And you can get him in round 5. Who gives a shit about your defensive lineman, the 45th edge rusher? Who the hell cares about that when you can bring in Shador Sanders to back up your quarterback situation, especially the Niners?
I'm a Colts fan, and they got Daniel Jones and AR, and I was hoping
it's so dumb, bro. It's so dumb. The Colts should be ashamed of themselves. The Dolphins got a backup, so that's great. They got yours, but they still should be ashamed of themselves. Everybody should be ashamed of themselves. Matto, 20-month membership question. Harvey at the 1.7, of course, bro. In the Dynasty rookie startup draft, your question is he going to last that long? Because you look at this board right here, and yeah, it's very possible, very, very possible that Harvey goes around 1.7 because you mix in 1 or 2 receivers, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a chance that if you're in a running back hungry environment, he doesn't last, So Megas, appreciate you. Bond is still a free agent. Maybe your Niners pick him up, though, because he didn't get drafted, unless he got signed while I've been live. So I'll rely on Travis and a few of you to tell me if any news breaks on Bond. Where is the best place to join a Dynasty League would be my first one. Logan, get on over to my Patreon. There's always people looking to cook up Dynasty Leagues and have conversations. My Patreon is $10 a month on my Patreon. But you can cancel anytime. And it's the YouTube live chat, but offline, 365, 24/7 on Patreon. It's just a live chat. Link I dropped in the description. Links in the link I dropped in the live chat. It's in the description of the video. And Logan, appreciate your super chat, but that's the best place on my Patreon. There's people itching to start a Dynasty League all the time. Thank you for the super chat. BBQ with 2 more, and then I'll go back to the phone line. Props to Smitty after weeks of draft prep. And after being live for it, he's here grinding on limited sleep. Respect, bro. Thank you, BBQ, for dropping the super chat. Thank you for all the gifted memberships over the handfuls of weeks. And I can't wait for you to be a part of the entire offseason for the first time. Good news this year is a solid depth and talent at running back means more startable cuffs that are 1 injury away from fantasy production. And that's what makes it so fun in best ball, to scoop up all these running backs, because it's like, bro, especially the reason I try and get people to get on over to Underdog before the NFL draft is you're drafting so many of these guys cheaper, and then once they get landing spots like Harvey, I got Harvey in like round 12, round 11, round 13, round 9 sometimes, but round 15, round 12. And those teams where I've got Harvey, I mean, you just think of the advantage you have now with Harvey as your 6th running back. And now you go into a Best Ball Mania on, I don't know if it'll start on Monday, tomorrow, or tonight at midnight, or whenever. Could start it already. Once Best Ball Mania opens, Harvey's going to be a 3rd or 4th rounder. So, I mean, that's the advantage. When people say, oh, you don't want to draft early, injuries happen. Yeah, that's true. But you could also be a very good student of the game, watch this channel, and realize that running backs can get hurt, receivers can get hurt, anybody can get hurt. And if you stave off and stay away from those running backs that have those injury concerns, and you get more advantages by drafting early because of the Harveys, because of all these awesome things. Okay, let me go over to the phone line. I have one upper back on the line, then I'll swing back over to Joe. One upper, have you calmed down? Oh, no, that was Kyrie. No, that was Kyrie Boston. You were upset the other day too, though.
I'm good.
You were upset the other day too. Go ahead.
Smitty, I'm good. I'm good.
BBQ.
And so, listen, I just wanted to give you a name that I think you need to put on your list, or at least keep a radar out on. His name is Jacoy Krosky Merritt. In DC,
we just talked to him. You can't be higher. I know you want to be higher on him than us. I know you want to be higher on him than everybody. We just talked about him a minute ago. He's a great prospect. You're not enlightening us to him like you wanted so badly. But yes, I do think Merritt's a good player. I'd probably say you can't draft him ahead of these guys, but like I said earlier on the show, Merritt will be in that other video where we say, where are the hidden gems? Where's the Harvey type player? But you're 100% right. Merritt's one of those guys. You got to go get him. I would put him in the same category, if you're equating it to wide receiver, as Isaiah Bond, who hasn't been drafted, as Savion Williams, who's a very exciting player that's very Deebo Samuel-like, that probably comes into Green Bay and takes on that Jaden Reed role if they want it. There's so many of these players, and Merritt's one of them, that you want to grab and just stash on a bench, especially if you're in Dynasty. In redraft, it would be hard to draft Merritt now in a small roster until we get word of where he's at in the pecking order. But yes, very exciting player. But just like Ben Sinnott was a guy that they wanted so badly, and you had Adam Peters talking him up, and they haven't even used him yet. So you can't put the cart too ahead of the horse. But definitely Merritt is a great player to keep an eye on. This running back drafted to the Washington Commanders for sure.
Yeah, because Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, they miss a lot of time every single year. And I think it's possible that he could be our backup, maybe even get more snaps than Brian Robinson. I think he's
it's going to take time.
Brian Robinson. Let me ask you a quick question. Yeah, no, I agree. So, what do you think about that Green Bay wide receiver core? I mean, they loaded up on 2 more wide receivers in the draft. What do you think about Golden, Reed, and Savion Williams? I mean, is Golden still worth taking early?
I mean, the thing that we talked about on the show when it happened, and the show after it, and we've continued to have conversations about it, is that this team invested in a wide receiver for the first time in round 1 in a long time. So this is a very, 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 very good situation where, for the first time, I can tell you that there's a lot of pressure for them to use Golden. There's a lot of pressure for them to count on Golden. There's a lot of pressure for them to make it work, to make it successful, to execute upon it properly. I like the idea of Golden in Green Bay. I'm not concerned about this not working out. I just don't know what the ceiling value is. I think if people are expecting him to be a top 5 wide receiver, I think that's the wrong expectation. If people are expecting him to be, what's a good comp for his ceiling? Not necessarily style of play, but ceiling value. Let me go to my thefantasyfootballshow.com rankings and pull up, I would say like a high value for him would be, I think he'll be better than like Devontae Smith, or he could be if he's used properly. I think he'd be kind of around like wide receiver 13 to like 18. I think he could have that kind of value. I don't know that he's ever going to be a top 10 guy. It's a very, very talented top 10 pool of wide receivers that he's got to crack into. So I don't know if he's got that ceiling, but he also doesn't come into the league with a big resume. Like, this is a guy, Matthew Golden, that never had a 1,000-yard receiving season at the college level. Like, that's a little concerning. It's hard to expect top 5 wide receiver numbers from a guy that's never pulled in 1,000 yards receiving season. I almost liked Isaiah Bond more.
Yeah, it's just weird how. At first we didn't know who the wide receiver one was going to be in Green Bay. Then we finally figured out that it was Jaden Reed. Now all of a sudden we back to square one all over again. I'm staying completely away from all Green Bay wide receivers until we can figure this thing out.
I mean, I don't blame you. It depends on the cost of entry. But I will say the final thing I'll say on Golden is that he's never had a 1,000-yard receiving season in college. Hard to expect a top 5 to 10 wide receiver out of that. But I will say I liked Isaiah Bond more. I feel like I truly feel, I know this sounds so arrogant, and I'm admitting I could burn a franchise to the ground too at the same time. But Waddle's a good example, Matto. Yeah. I just think that, like, I could have walked into this draft for the Cleveland Browns and won the day. I could have just won the day. I mean, even if I probably wouldn't have let Isaiah Bond go undrafted. I probably would have blown my wad on him in round 5 or 6, to be honest with you, when I just couldn't take it anymore. I would have taken him in the 4th round. I probably would have made some mistakes because I would have taken Shedeur in round 3, not knowing he'd go in round 5. But if I was the Browns, I would have made the trade, or if you made the trade already, I would have made the trade, drafted Jeanty, then took Shedeur, grabbed Burden, because you had 2 picks in round 2. So I would have taken Shedeur and Burden on top of drafting Jeanty, and then I'd pick up Bond after the draft, or I would have drafted him around 4 or 5. I would have had Bond, Burden as my 2 receivers with Judy, Jeanty, and Shedeur Sanders. I would have had an amazing team. Or you draft Hunter at number 2, you take Shedeur, you take Trey Henderson, or a running back like that in the near back-to-back second-round picks that they had. I would have turned the Cleveland Brown franchise around in a heartbeat. And any team that doesn't go get Isaiah Bond right now is crazy. He's a first-round wide receiver. I just don't understand the NFL teams. How does not one team step out from this pressure or whatever the hell's directing it? It's crazy to me. Need help with rebuilding my dynasty team, bro. Sick Nasty, drop it on screen. If it's the dynasty league that we're in, I'm trying to give you Burrow. Doing it live says, call your boy loud. 1 second, let me read this. Also, I know you're a busy man these days, but any future plans for another intern episode? Yes, I want to have another, my sitcom. I'll have another episode pretty soon. Anyone who hasn't should check it out. It's a very underrated part of your channel. Thank you. What he's talking about is if you go to my YouTube page, let me pull it up on my phone. You go to my YouTube page and you scroll a little bit more than halfway down on the main page. By the way, on my YouTube page, when you look at it, you'll scroll down and there'll be playlists. It'll be live shows, NFL rookie content. Keep scrolling. You'll see fantasy football court. And so it's all categorized and organized. ADP ranking shows. And then you get to this part right here, and it's the fantasy football intern. All those episodes right there, fantasy football intern. It's a sitcom. It's like the league, basically. And YouTube doesn't push it very hard because it's different content. It's an actual like sitcom. And people don't know I have it. I try and promote it as best I can, but thank you for promoting it for me. And go check it out. Let me know if you like it. Appreciate you. All right, go ahead, and thank you for the $10 holler. Who was trying to talk? Someone was trying to interrupt.
You know, that was because I'm going to say one last thing, and then I'm going to go. I'm so down on Luther Burden on where he went. Like, I was high on him before the draft. I think he's an elite talent. He couldn't have went to a worse spot. Like, I got to stay away from
I will say Luther Burden. I love Luther Burden. I'm so excited. I even I started creating content before day 2 started just because I wanted people to know how high I was on him. I wanted to push all that out there before it happened. And then what happens? He goes to the worst spot known to man. It's not that it can't develop in time. And it's not that I'm avoiding him personally. I still like him a lot. But Adunze is there. DJ Moore is there. This is not an easy situation. You've got Loveland that they invested in. They're going to throw to the running back. Caleb scrambles a lot. He plays off schedule a lot. Burden's going to need to learn an offense around all of that. And it's not going to be a quick transition. But in time, he could be great there. They could be thrown from behind in the 3rd and 4th quarter for now until the end of time. And Ryan Poles is the worst GM in the league. This is just not where I wanted him to go. It was very disappointing as well. I agree with you. But I'm not abandoning him totally. It just depends on the cost of entry. But who am I talking to? Who was it that asked that question? Was that Kyrie Boston?
No, that was
that was someone else.
Was that one upper? All right, one upper. Anything else?
Yeah.
Anything else? One upper.
No.
All right, later, bro.
No, that's it, man.
All right, later.
All right.
But yes, we talked about what was it that he brought up again? Oh, yes, we talked about the running back landing spots, and definitely get on over and check out the rankings on thefantasyfootballshow.com. Go check out where I've got Krosky Merritt, because I think where I've got Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, the running back that was drafted to the Commanders, you might be surprised at how high I rank him. I rank him pretty high. I think his consensus is pretty low, and I think I have him. Well, I've got him tied in like a territory that's like just below Ollie Gordon and Damian Martinez and Trevor Etienne. So like it's pretty high. I like him a lot. It's just we need to wait on some things. All right, let me go back over to Kyrie Boston. Kyrie Boston, have you had time to cool off?
Yeah, I did, and I listened to what I said, and I listened to the whole thing all over again. I listened to what you had to say afterwards and all that. Like anytime I crash out, I rewatch everything.
Attaboy.
So I understand what's going on. All I had to say was
real quickly before you say it. I'm never mad at you. I'm never mad at you. I'll hang up on you a lot. It's just the nature of I think who you are and who I am and how you fit in. Like you're a puzzle piece that's a little bit bent, and you don't quite fit into some of the things, and so you get hung up on a lot. But just know that you're always welcome.
I get you. I
still try and put the puzzle together. It's not you don't have to take it wrong.
Gump, sometimes I expect to get hung up on because I was crashing out.
And Gump,
if I crash out and you have to hang up on me, I'm not going to get mad.
But don't get mad no matter what. Gump took it personally. Gump gets hung up on every day.
I don't get mad.
Okay, but you also got to watch your mouth. Sometimes you say some things on the phone like, don't say, like, I'm only going to give you one more chance on that nonsense. Don't say anything weird or crazy on the phone line. Just keep it clean. Keep it PG. Okay, go ahead. What can I do for you?
All right, I'm gonna keep it PG. And my fault. I might have swore last time.
Some of the stories too. Like Gump called in telling us like it was a Halloween story, but it was a real life story, and he started describing it. I'm like, Gump, get off the line. I hung up on him. He got real mad.
I don't even want to talk about
crash out.
That gave me a nightmare.
Talk about crash out. Gump hasn't called back.
I almost lost my hand in the nightmare.
Gump hasn't called back in since he botched the entire NFL draft predictions, and now he won't call in and take accountability. He won't call in. He promised me a bucket of chicken and a super chat if he was wrong. He said the Dallas Cowboys would draft Ashton Jeanty. They're going to get him. It's going to happen. The first round would have 5 running backs. Gump hasn't returned. He hasn't returned since. All right, go ahead, Kyrie.
Can I say Henderson like my second running back? Because he's going to Patriots.
Yeah, what about him?
I was going to say Henderson's my second favorite running back. He's going to the Patriots. Yep. Like, you think I'm a Hampton fan. That's like his landing spot.
Well, I like them both. I love them both.
I love his landing spot. Actually, I like it more than any other running back in the draft, and I could tell you why.
I like all.
I feel like Harbaugh's going to run the ball more times, as many times as the Lions ran the ball. Harbaugh will run the ball because he ran that bum out, them 2 bums out there last year. Like literally, I had them dudes in my lineup just because I knew Harbaugh was going to run the ball.
Yeah, Harbaugh.
And I didn't want to start them dudes. I didn't want to start J.K. Dobbins or that bust dude. I didn't really want them dudes. They were my last
Harbaugh
resort.
Don't play no games. Look, I
that's what I'm saying. He gonna run Hampton to the ground. He reminds me of the dude from San Francisco that just runs running backs into the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I really believe these dudes about to get run to the ground, and they need more running backs in charge of them.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
But here's the
right. I mean, Harbaugh.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Like I said at the top of the show, though, don't just think, Harbaugh is gonna take this situation and just ignore Najee. He's a weird guy.
I ain't saying I know, but Najee. I feel like
as I said with Harbaugh,
a 2 running back situation.
I know, but what he does, you got to understand that this is a guy that goes up to a podium and says, "I look at both Hampton and Najee like butterflies." And I think you let one fly to the left, you let one fly to the right. If you put them both in a freezer, one might freeze, and then you've got another, and then you can clone them. And then if you need to bring one of them back to life, you can just clone the butterflies. This is a guy that makes decisions based off his wild mindset. So if you think that he can't,
but he kind of like made me believe in him the way he ran them bums.
If you think he's not capable of saying, we're going to give Najee all the goal line work for the first half of the season, you're out of your mind if you think it's not a possibility. So Henderson, the reason I'm confident.
I'm not saying that. I just feel like they're going to get so much work, it doesn't matter.
Because Henderson is the best passing back. I got to talk over you every time, and then you get hung up on because you don't stop talking. You
finish him.
I stop.
Call terminated.
All right, I got to cycle everybody off the phone line anyway. Let me go over to 812 caller. What is your name and where are you calling from again? I forget. I'm sorry. Just Joe?
It's Joe. It's Joe, man. Yeah, Joe.
Okay, I got it. I wrote it down. I wrote it down right here. So when it's over, I got Joe 812. I'm gonna save you in the system. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Appreciate that.
Stop.
So circling back to the Quinshon and Dylan Sampson situation, like, reason why I like Quinshon a little bit more is I feel like they're going to give him the first and goal touches, as far as, if they're like 1st and 3, like
probably,
or 1st and goal on the 3-yard line, 4-yard line, just because he's a bigger guy,
probably,
he's and so, like, I guess I'm going to take that into consideration.
Kyrie, I'm getting off the phone line anyway.
But, I mean, it can go either way. So, but my next thing is Josh Jacobs. Why is he not on, like, your Moon Man or Mars Man list? Because, like, I feel like he's kind of being slighted.
Well, he was a Mars Man. Did the phone line just hang up? I think Kyrie Boston keeps calling. And then it for whatever reason, when he does that and he calls over and over again, it like hangs up on my phone line. I don't know what it is about Kyrie. If I hang up on you, I'm not picking up. Don't keep dialing in or I'm going to block you because you keep doing this to my phone line. I forget why it happened this way. It's only with Kyrie Boston's line too. It's only for whatever reason. Got the 3 pick in a rookie draft. Who should I pick? I mean, I would say Henderson because he's probably going to be there. I think the whole world thinks Hampton's number 2, so I take Henderson. I think you could take Harvey if you want. It's one of these 3 running backs. I don't think I take even Travis Hunter over one of these running backs, but Harvey, Hampton, Henderson. Honestly, right now, bro, it's super close. It is super close between those guys. I don't think it's something that like somebody can say you're off base at all by liking one of those running backs, just as long as Jeanty's one, but one of Henderson, Hampton, or Harvey as your number 3. I think Hampton goes 2 most likely in any draft scenario. So I pick Henderson, but you could like Harvey more than Henderson. I wouldn't think you're crazy. You can get Hendied or Harvey'd, either way, pal. Very, very, very close call, but I appreciate your super chat. And chat, can you vote on who you pick 3 if, let's say, Jeanty and Hampton are off the board? Is it Henderson for sure? Or do some of you really like Harvey more? And I can't blame you. All right, real quickly, Joe, finish what you were saying. Kyrie was dialing in and put up the phone.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, I think we got
Go
disconnected. But, no, like, just circling back to Josh Jacobs, like, I just think, like, I think he should be on your Moon Man or Mars Man list.
He was. There probably wasn't a higher channel on Jacobs last year when we predicted his breakout monster season. So we did call that. We did have that. But I think right now you ask.
No, I mean like this year, like he's gonna, he's gonna repeat. I mean, he had the most touchdowns.
Maybe.
I think his entire career as far as season wise, and he rushed for more yards than he ever did.
My concern would be that I feel like he does have the capability of wearing down. He's been abused. He was abused in LV for quite a while, to the point where like I wonder how much like tread he's got left versus like what he would have if he was in a better place. I think he's good. I like him. Obviously, we predicted him to be a Mars man last year, and he absolutely helped people win leagues. But I think that there's just, there's only so many spots. It's not that I don't like him. I just think he's fair value. And the concerns about maybe him getting overworked and like having some injury concerns in the next handful of years or something just make me say, okay, I like him fair value. I'll draft some Jacobs, but at the end of the day, I only have so many spots, and we already predicted his breakout. I only have so many spots where you can slot some of these guys, and I don't think at cost he's going to necessarily blow up the same degree. Like, people are going to pay top dollar for him. So
would you take him or JT?
JT, yeah. You got to remember, we were getting him at a discount walking into last year, so that's why he was such a value. Now you got to pay the price, and I just don't. It comes down to Moonmen, Marsmen, Saturnmen are values. They're values, and I think he's fair market. Doesn't mean I don't like him. I just think he's fair market.
But like, isn't it like fall in? Say that again, Travis.
I was just gonna say 15 touchdowns he had last year. It's a lot to bank on someone to get 15 touchdowns. I mean, he only ever had 12 before that. It's just a tough number to hit. I mean, I'm not saying he can't.
They're also adding to the wide receiver
just like James
room.
Cook with 20 touchdowns.
They added to the wide receiver room. They're going to throw a little more. They got to repair the passing attack a little bit. There's just reason to say, like, okay, he's no longer going in steal territory. Not that I don't like him. It's kind of like JT. JT's not on any bold prediction board because he's fair market value. I like JT at the end of 2, but there's so many other players I love that JT doesn't fit into my breakouts or anything like that. I mean, you're still paying a good price for Jacobs now. Like, our job's done. We identified him. It's going to be amazing. People are doubting him. He went crazy. And now we walk away and we leave the job well done. And he just, it is what it is right now. He's good value, but I still believe there's some potential risk of breakdown for him just because of how much, abuse he took before he headed over to Green Bay. And he got abused at the beginning of the season. Like, there were some bumps in the road for Jacobs, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't score like in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So I mean, like, he could have had a potential, 20, 21 touchdowns. And there were some carries that somebody took from him. I mean, on the the goal line.
But it's that kind of situation where there's volatility. It's not just all about like, oh, if he just would have. I mean, he was in the lineup, bro. So it is what it is. I don't think you can really say, oh, he should have had this. He didn't. You could say that about a player that isn't starting yet. Like Jahmyr Gibbs' rookie year. Like, imagine if he had played weeks 1 through 6. But with Jacobs, he was there. So I like him a lot. The 4.4 yards per carry, not horrible. It's not league leading or anything like that. Travis is right. 15 touchdowns, hard to replicate. You look at his historical stats. His workload. He's 27 years old, which is fine. I don't think he's in the drop-off year next year. I would be more worried. But he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. This will be his 7th season. Not crazy to think that the mileage, which is at 1,606 carries on his career, not crazy to think that that's going to add up at some point. I mean, this guy's been in the league long enough that he was in the league before the pandemic. He was in the league when the Raiders were Oakland. So he's been being abused in LV since it was Oakland. 3.9 yards per carry 1 year, 3.5 another year, just hitting nothing but stacked boxes. So for me, I just package in a little bit of concern that if he's getting drafted too high, I'm out. Nothing horrible.
Yeah, I hear you. My last question. So after the conclusion of this draft, I know that you haven't made your official announcement on your Super Bowl prediction, but I know that you were considering the Bengals, coming out of the AFC. And then like the Commanders coming out of the NFC with, a few other teams, in consideration. Has your opinion changed at all on your prediction with that? After
yes.
this draft?
I would say slightly. I'm leaning toward KC with the offensive line improvement. What a steal. they got at the end of round 1. Not to mention, I love the Brashard Smith. I'm going to say Eagles are still very much in the mix, but losing Kellen Moore, Rams, I like the Rams a lot as a sneaky call. Detroit, I think, is going to drop off a little bit. Not that they're going to be trash, but they're going to drop off. I'm going to say Commanders versus the Chiefs right now, but a strong consideration for the Denver Broncos if you need a sleeper to be a top 2 or 3 team in the AFC with the who knows what this looks like come Super Bowl. But KC or Buffalo or KC, Buffalo or Bengals are still my 3 teams, I think. But I'm leaning toward KC right now. I think Mahomes has been lifting. He's getting jacked. He's going to have his wide receiver room ready to rumble. They're the kind of team that I could see picking up Isaiah Bond. And we've joked around about that because they love their trouble wide receivers. Bond gets out on Bond. Rice picks him up in the car. They all get in and go for a ride. I think it's a real likelihood that Bond could look to that. Because, I mean, if you're Bond, too, and you could go anywhere, you're going to want to go play for a team that's going to win a Super Bowl. Like, that's great for your career. So, I don't know. I could see them looking at that. But I'm going to say KC versus Washington for right now, but not locking it in yet. All right, bro. Got to go. I'll put you in the system.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
Rock out. Final thoughts. Rock out.
What do you think about Joe Shanebox's draft? He had a pretty decent draft.
Yeah, I mean, I love Scatabo, my guy. I think Scatabo. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Joe Shinebox might have had a lot of help. We have no idea how much he was really instrumental in what went down. So, but
help from his son.
His son like Dart. But Scatabo, Neighbors, I'm liking where this is going. I just think they should have drafted Sanders. But getting Dart was good. You know, I would have taken Dart and Sanders, to be honest. Why not? I mean, you're talking about your franchise quarterback. Why not take 2 shots at it? People are so ridiculous by not taking a stab at it. Kivo says you love Tyrone Tracy. A lot of people do, bro, because a lot of people own him. You know, like, I love Tyrone Tracy is a comment from somebody that owns a lot of Tyrone Tracy. I will tell you that. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you this is coming, Kivo, no offense. And it's fine that you do, but it's coming from a place of you have a lot of shares of them already, or you have at least one very important share that you're worried about. All right. We'll talk to you later, Rock Out. Probably won't go live again because it's already midnight. So appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Later.
All right, cool. Bye.
All right. I'm scared for Tyrone Tracy. That's the real answer that Kivo wanted to say, and he did. He finally did. I agree with you, pal. Let me go to Nap real quick. Actually, Nap, let me answer this question real quick. The super chat. I got 2 super chats. This one is from Keegan. Keegan says, keep 2. Standard scoring. Gibbs, Achane, Lamar, St. Brown. Oh, man. I mean, Gibbs is obviously the one keeper that you have to lock in. But who are you drafting ahead of the other? Achane or St. Brown? Probably St. Brown. So you keep St. Brown and you try and draft Achane back or an equivalent. You don't have to get Achane back, but you have a better chance of drafting Achane back than you do St. Brown. So you probably keep Gibbs and St. Brown. However, you are talking about these guys being on the same team. And if you're worried about Ben Johnson leaving and Goff, I mean, it's not crazy to go Gibbs and Achane, but balance is nice. You can't consider Lamar unless it's a super flex. If it's a super flex, he's the number 1 keeper even over Gibbs. But I'd probably say you don't keep Lamar because you can draft him back. I'd probably say Gibbs and St. Brown and you bank on, even if, let's say, there's some problems, you know, if there's some problems in Detroit, they're still going to throw, run, score a lot. Sick Nasty, $5 holler, my boy. Thanks for moderating as well, my man. QB, JD5, Murray. Wide receiver, Harrison, Coleman, Wilson, Shaheed, Dobbs, Austin. Running backs, ETN, Zach Moss, Roshan. Okay, so we got some work to do on the RB room. Jonu, Kraft, any moves to make? You're probably not going to like this idea, but there's not a lot to move, to be honest, unless you're like, you know, I guess let's start here. Get rid of first rounders to go get like a Harvey. You know, give up a pick that someone.
So he has the 1.02.
Okay.
Just so you know.
1.02. So you're getting an RB in the mix. Okay, well you could probably stay afloat with that. Is that Garrett Wilson? Because he says Coleman and then Wilson. So usually people rank them in order, and I'm like, that's Garrett Wilson. Okay, so Garrett Wilson, Harrison, JD5, and you're going to have Hampton or Henderson. That's pretty good. I don't know that you need to sell the farm. I would sell future picks. I would go get another. If you could get like the 1.3 and come away with Henderson or even the 1.4 and get Harvey. So Henderson or Harvey with Hampton. I think your team's not going to be the 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 next year with that team, and that you're basically trading a late first rounder next year for an early to mid first rounder this year. And even if you had to give up another, like a second rounder.
What about
Bucky?
What about RBs like that might be later? Like, would you recommend you draft them? Like, if you could get, I don't know where Sampson.
Yeah.
Draft Sampson a little later. If
I'd be very intrigued by getting a Scatabo. I'd be very intrigued by trading the 1.2 away to get Bucky and something. If you could get someone to value the 1.2 heavily over Bucky, especially with all the draft hype right now, I would be very intrigued by keeping the 1.2 and getting Hampton or Henderson and trading your future first rounder and future second rounder for Bucky. I've done that. I've gotten Bucky using a first and second rounder, and I love it. I think it's the best move I've made all offseason. I love it. And in my eyes, getting Bucky makes my pick horrible. Makes it a 1.12. So I would say go get Bucky using a future first and second. You have ETN with no Bigsby and Tootin, so you gotta try and button that up if you can, but that's hard. But you gotta trade for one and draft the other. It's like that's really impossible. I'd probably lean on Kraft and trade Jonnu on the high. Not because I don't like him or believe in him, just because I like Kraft as a sneaky tight end, and you need to kind of get what you value out of something. Go see if anybody needs Kyler Murray. Odds are they don't want him, but you could try like trading Jonnu and Kyler for like a first rounder, like a late first rounder if someone needs a quarterback that bad, or maybe you could go get what running backs could you acquire using Kyler and Jonnu. The problem is the team that needs a quarterback might not even have these players, but example would be Chuba Hubbard. You could get Kamara, and just rent him for a year.
What about going after like a Benson or something?
Yeah, Benson would be okay. I really like the idea of Bucky using future draft capital. Like I would trade my Fantastic says don't trade your 2027 first rounder. I don't know if you're just saying that for this example. Of course I would. But if you're answering someone else's question.
Probably Jeremiah Smith, right?
Yeah, but you got to have the one to get Jeremiah Smith. Like, just because you have a first rounder doesn't mean you're getting Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, Bucky's the guy. Bucky, Hall, Kyron, I think are very... you can acquire them pretty easily right now using first rounders. 2027 Arch Manning, Jeremiah Smith. Look, I get that, but that's 2 years away. Like, what are you really going to sit there and go, don't trade this, let's just lose for 2 more years? Like, what if the league folds? You can't play too long in advance. That would be my advice. I really like the idea of Jonnu Smith getting traded, future first rounder, and Jonnu for Bucky or for Breece Hall. Kyron, I want to cuff though. You got to cuff him. They are going to run Kyron into the ground. If I had to say, there's a player that I don't believe has the longevity that I want him to have, it would probably be Kyron. Of the running backs we love so much on this channel, because they run him into the ground, and he's a smaller guy. I'm not saying he's going to get hurt this year, and I'm a big advocate of not assuming he's going to get hurt. And he didn't get hurt last year, even though everybody predicted it. But, Kyron, you do need to cuff in Dynasty. It's pretty important. And now Hunter needs to be the cuff. For all of us that went and got Corum at almost any cost last year, now I got to go freaking find out a way to trade up and get Hunter. Thank you, Sick Nasty. Appreciate you for the super chat. Hopefully that helps. And if you have any follow-up questions, let me know. Nap, before I go, the floor is yours for a brief amount of time. Go. You're live.
Can you put the running back board back up?
I read your mind.
The landing spots.
Yep.
I do think Hampton. I'm with the population. I think Hampton should be 2 because I think the spot. I think Najee's spot is a little more shakier than.
Explain why. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I do
Okay.
believe that it's not provable. But go ahead and give me your rationale.
I don't like Najee's yards per carry. It's always like 3.8, 3.9. Never like. I feel like he having little to his potential. So I feel like Hampton could get his spot. And
Wait. Say it again. What's the reason that Najee's not as threatening as
his yards per carry is always like 3 something.
But he's not in the same environment. You got to understand part of that's
Never
Pittsburgh.
That's true.
But yeah,
That is
so it's
very
kind of
true.
hard to.
Yeah. And then Ramondre, he did have the fumble issues last year. And I know they wanted to replace him, but all they had was Gibson on the roster, so they really couldn't replace him like that.
I
So they
personally think that Najee's more threatening, but not to say that the Chargers won't run enough to compensate for it to wash the risk, though. Okay, make that abundantly clear. But I think in terms of being a better player, more threatening, I like Stevenson. But here's the difference. Want me to tell you how I know that Najee's more threatening? Those of you that want to actually close your eyes, or you want to do it literally, that's fine. But close your eyes and picture walking out of this draft with no running backs landing in LAC or in New England. Who do you feel is a guy you'd be willing to risk a 3rd or 4th round pick on, or a 4th or 5th round pick on? Stevenson? No. Stevenson is going to go in rounds 5, 6, 7. Najee was going in round 4 before they drafted Hampton. So for everybody acting like Hampton is not as threatened by Najee as Henderson is threatened by Ramondre, then why was Najee holding a 4th round ADP before the draft? I just think people want this to be clear, and it's not. And it's not that I don't love Hampton. It's not that Hampton can't overcome it in time. I'm talking like 5 weeks, 2 months, whatever, just like Gibbs did. But for people, when they pretend like this isn't an obstacle that he does have to learn to overcome, it's wild to me. Najee just had 4th round value. Stevenson's been an afterthought. Even when, like I say, no running back landed in New England, Travis and I would be on here and I would ask him, what do you think about Stevenson? Do we trust him? Do they even want to give him the ball? Like, I don't know what they think about Stevenson. I don't know how they feel about him. I don't know that I can trust him. Fumbles the ball. He was so good. Now he's not. I don't know what happened to him. Did he fall off? Whereas Najee, he was coming in to rumble. And he was going to do well. He was going to be a pretty damn good pick in the 4th round. Now he's not. But I just find it funny that everybody loves, Stevenson over Najee. I just don't get it. Nobody thought that way before the draft. Everybody's just so hell-bent on making this puzzle piece fit, perfectly. It doesn't have to fit perfectly. He'll still be well. He'll still do well. And again, for those that think I'm ripping on Hampton at all, I promise you I like Hampton as much as you at least. It's just I like Henderson a lot more than most people. That's why that's there. But I hear you, bro. Your concerns are valid, and I think it's logical. Even if you believe the opposite of what I just said, I'm not mad at you.
I also think that Hampton could be like the Ray Davis last year, where he kind of has a standalone value, even with Cook in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
They run the ball a lot, and Harvey.
Yeah, and that's why I said earlier that, let me make it abundantly clear, that they could the difference between Najee being better than Ramondre and being more threatening could be washed by the amount of running that the Chargers do. That's why I said that specific line. I see people in the chat that didn't hear that line because they're saying, don't they run the ball more? Yeah, that's what I just said. But I don't know that there's a real, like I said, a real good argument here that someone's going to win a debate on. I think it just comes down to, for me, I think they're both in equal spots personally. I think, yeah, Harbaugh might run the ball more, but then again, you look at some of the analytics and they threw the ball more at the goal line than people I think remember. They probably weren't effective, which is why they turned to that. But there's some goal line data, I'll try and find it, that showed that the Chargers were constantly throwing at and around the goal line instead of running the ball in. So, there's pros and cons to that situation. And Harbaugh had kind of a struggle bus up and down. Good things happen, bad things happen. But, I think that, we're assuming a lot of positive things out of the Chargers, which I do believe they will be pretty good. But New England's going to... People need to remember that New England's no longer Drake May and nobody. New England's now Drake May, Henderson, offensive line piece that was drafted in the top 4, and best pass blocking running back in the draft class, and probably the dark horse wide receiver 4, 5, 6, some people's boards is kind of all over the map, and Kyle Williams, a really, really good receiver that now becomes the number 1 target hog for Drake May. This whole team is different. They got an A+ draft in my book. So we got to remember that New England's not a worse situation than the Chargers. I don't know why everybody thinks that right now after the draft. They're just still clinging on to it's New England. It's New England. It's also a team that win over and over and over and over and over. Now they're what? Not capable of ever bouncing back to glory. Vrabel's pretty good coach. We'll see what happens. I'm impressed. I walked away like Travis after round 1, and I'm like, what are they doing? But we did know that the running backs would fall. Kyle Williams fell. It was great. It was a great draft.
I went. It was awesome. The atmosphere was a good experience.
All right, bro. We'll see you later. Nap to the moon. Travis, final thoughts.
Yeah. So real quick, Damian Martinez. I guess I'm reading that he had some maturity concerns and did really bad in his interview.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why
I heard that too. I heard.
And then I just gonna.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I heard there's some things that made him fall, but hard to really know what's true. There's so many people still trying to make get clicks, so I don't even know what's true. Like Dable, responded to that. Hey, we heard that there was a time where Shador was given some sort of question or problem to solve or whatever, and I guess he didn't do it right, and then they called him out on it, and then Shador got mad or something, and then Dable was asked about it, and Dable could just be trying to keep things at bay, and I don't want to pour salt on the wound here, but he's like, no, we had great interviews with all of them. So it's like, you don't know what to believe. People are still trying to get clicks and views and make waves on the Shador thing, so I don't even know. But yeah, I did hear Martinez was not the best.
So I have one quick question, and then I was just gonna ask you a couple real quick quick hitter. Give me one sentence on 2 or 3 players. One, I was just gonna ask you, Dobbins. Where do you think a most likely spot for him would be, or likely spot? Yeah. I think Chicago.
Yes,
could pick him up.
Definitely. Chicago
wouldn't be the worst spot for him to land.
That'd be okay, but I think he gets hurt. But Dobbins, okay. Dobbins could go to. Man, that's a tough one.
I hope Dallas doesn't.
Let's see here. I don't know. That's crazy. Maybe Houston? J.K. Dobbins to Houston. J.K. Dobbins back to Baltimore. Yeah. J.K. Dobbins to Buffalo.
Baltimore,
back to Baltimore can make sense. J.K. Dobbins to Chicago's a pretty reasonable fit.
Not that we'd want it, but Green Bay doesn't have much of a backup behind
I can see that
Jacobs.
too.
I was looking at it, All right, and just real quick, and I'll get off the phone here. Just a few guys like so Trevor Etienne to the Panthers. He's nothing now, right?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Trevor Etienne's tough. I like him a lot, but he was already like a guy that you kind of thought like, yeah, could be good, but he's very what's the best word? Like he's very Vidal like. You're excited about the situation, but he's not. Vidal could be forgot just as quickly as he was talked up. So Trevor Etienne definitely not a guy I'm excited about anymore.
And then Ollie Gordon, how do you think that affects Jalen Wright? Do you think that's just them just making sure they have depth because they want to have someone in that Mostert role?
I think it was a good pick. I think he definitely could threaten Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright had some of the best 5-yard split 40-time numbers in his draft class, which is, as we said, a real important stat, but he kind of had a chance to impress and he didn't deliver. So I think Ollie Gordon, they drafted him for a reason. He's really good. I think it's going to be a wide open competition to get that early down work while Achan's not affected by it that they need to keep Achan healthy. So pretty good decision to draft him. I don't think it's not a threat at all. What round did he go in? It was round 5.
Pretty late, right? I think so. I got it right here. Went in pick 179. So yeah, 5 I think.
179. So yeah, the capital is not concerning or anything like that. To like, oh, it's a threat or. I mean, if he thrives, it's because Wright failed miserably. So then it's like Wright's a backup. So I don't know. I don't know who the cuff is at this point. I'd probably say I'd speculate that Gordon finds a way to get it, but it might not be the case right away.
Yeah. All right, and the last one was just Taj Brooks. I liked him before the draft anyway. I don't fear he's gonna take Chase Brown's job, but I think he can take Zach Moss's job pretty fast and be a really nice cop. What's your thoughts on him? I mean, he was great in college, but I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts.
Yeah, I think he's a must cuff. I think it comes down to Zach Moss is nothing to me. I think the question would be: do I take a Taj Brooks without Chase Brown, or do you draft like a Krosky Merritt, the running back drafted by the Washington Commanders? Do you take Taj Brooks as a backup without Chase Brown, or do you go ahead and take a stab at someone like Woody Marks in Houston, who could potentially take over the starting role, or Jaden Blue in Dallas? I'd rather have those guys than Taj Brooks. But if you are a prospective Chase Brown owner, or you're a Chase Brown owner now, I think it's a good cuff, and I would maybe take him over those other guys to secure your running back spot.
Yeah, and then you mentioned him. Was it Rashard Smith? Is that his name? The guy.
Yeah, Brashard Smith. Love Brashard Smith. The only concerns with Brashard's.
I think he pushes Pacheco.
Yeah, I think he does push Pacheco. I don't know how quickly. The KC offensive playbook is one of the toughest to pick up in the NFL. So there's a real strong shot that he doesn't, start off the season on a tear. But I think that if Pacheco gets hurt, if he gets hurt, but probably when he gets hurt, the door will be open to him. And because he's such a good receiver, because he's a receiver that converted to an RB, he fits into the third down / let's get back to the passing game a little bit this year. I think that you've heard Mahomes telegraph that they're going to throw the ball more. And I think that Andy Reid is like a chameleon. I think he's going to adapt and adjust, and we've seen him take different shapes as a coach, and the directions of his offenses have been crazy. He's had running backs become a staple, and he's produced the best fantasy football running backs in fantasy football, period, for years and years and years. Then he converts over to, a big throwing attack, and Mahomes is the guy, and it's all about Tyreek Hill and Kelsey. And now he's morphed back to like not having even an offense. It's just kind of puttering along, but keeping in mind that if Rashee Rice didn't get hurt, we don't know what kind of numbers Mahomes would have thrown or what this offense would have looked like. It almost felt like they were putting tape and Band-Aids on the offense and skating by as long as they could, like holding their breath through each game and rising to the top. I really think that with Rice back in the saddle, and he'll be ready to go. He's already out there pushing sleds and running hard. Rice will be good to go. And it wasn't an ACL, it was an LCL. He'll be good to go. Worthy was playing as a top 2 wide receiver in his final 5 games, extrapolated out. He's phenomenal. You've got Kelsey there still, who may fall off a little bit, but he's still there. Gray's going to pick up the slack. I think Noah Gray, when used, was great. He just wasn't used a lot. But when he was featured, he was actually really productive. So Noah Gray's there in case Kelsey falls off completely. I'm not scared about Kelsey falling off at all. And then, you got this pass catching back in Brashard Smith, who I really liked. He's the Harvey that's left right now that hasn't been Harvey'd. Like Harvey just Harvey'd everybody. He went from rags to riches, and Brashard Smith is currently a rag. And I think that even though he's further down on the pecking order, he could certainly have the same kind of climb if he gets into the role. I really like him a lot. He's a fantastic player. Tough to know when the KC playbook is so complicated, it could take him half a year to pick it up. I don't know. But an injury could open the door. Damian Williams, as I've told the story before, Damian Williams didn't know the offense for over a year. And in the huddles, you'd have Patrick Mahomes say to Damian Williams, he'd go, blue 32, 75, hatchback 7 on 3. And then he'd lean over to Damian Williams and go, you're gonna block. you're gonna run a 5-yard out. And he'd literally tell Damian Williams the play after he called the play. So this is not a situation where Reed and Mahomes won't make it work if they have to rush Brashard Smith along in an offense that he hasn't learned yet. That has not stopped them before. Travis, 1 second. Kyrie Boston, 10 seconds because I got to go.
All right, I'm not going to talk about Hampton.
Okay.
Hello, you talking to me now?
Kyrie Boston, you're still live.
Hello?
Go. You got 4 seconds.
I didn't know if you was talking to me or
now you got 1 second.
Because you said
Kyrie Boston, you ran out of time. Like, I don't know what to do here. I literally, and I just hung up on Travis. Travis, call back in. I literally, you got 10 seconds. Who, me? You got 8 seconds. Oh, was I supposed to? I didn't know if you got 4 seconds. Yeah, the reason I didn't know if you were talking to, you got 0 seconds. Gump, very glad you called in, young man. I've been waiting for you to call in and take some accountability. Hold on, Gump. Let me merge these calls in real quickly. Gump, just hang tight real quickly, Gump. Let me merge this, Gumpy. Hold on, Gump. Don't go anywhere. I gotta merge everybody in. Okay, Gump. I'm real excited you called in, Gump. I didn't think you were gonna call in and take accountability about your bad draft day predictions.
Go.
Gump.
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah. So let's hear it. How many running backs went in round 1, Gump?
Oh gosh, the draft was it went upside down.
How many running backs were 5 drafted in round 1, Gump?
Oh, draft! Come on, let's be frank. Let's cook a hot dog here and talk about it. Hey,
he's gonna push the
Gump.
You know that,
I want to hear 2 words from you. I'm wrong.
Chicken dinner.
You bet. Where's my bucket of chicken?
I lost the 5-piece, but I ain't co-host.
Where's the chicken dinner?
Gump, just for those that don't know, Gump came in here so aggressive. He's like, the Cowboys want their next.
He said he's going
They want Dorsett. They're going to. He just kept ranting about Dorsett. The Cowboys are going to find a way to get Jeanty. It's happening. And he bet me a bucket of chicken. And then he said 5 running backs would go around 1. Only 2 went. Gump, where's my Gump, I'll take a $5 super chat right now, and you don't have to pay for the $10 or $15 bucket of chicken.
I don't know how to do all that. I'm
You
trying
hit
to
the
figure that out. But
hit the
listen,
little
I'll get
dollar
this.
sign.
It's a 5-piece dinner. You got your 5-piece dinner. I'm not co-host the show. Listen, the draft was freaking upside down.
It always
it
is,
was
Gump.
Upside down.
When is an NFL draft not upside down? Kyrie Boston, keep the laughing hyena to a minimum. Hold the phone over here.
Okay, sorry.
The first night you hung up on me, and then the second night the Don hung up on me.
No one knows who the Don is.
He was, because I was listening to you, and I didn't realize he was on the phone. So I was kind of like repeating what you were saying when Henderson got picked by the Patriots, and then Don goes, "That's not nice."
No,
like,
Gump, no one knows who the Don. You can't just come on our show and start talking about someone no one knows here. It's like saying, "Yeah, so I was yesterday. Steve told me that you want to have some lunch later," and I told Edna. No one knows who the Don is. No one cares who the Don is. No offense. And he's not the Don on this channel. But, okay, Gump, back on point. So you thought 5 running backs were going to go, only 2 did. How do you feel the Lions did with their draft? They drafted the Tesla kid who, for whatever reason, he's got a cult following. And there are people out there acting like the kid's going to be a superstar in an offense where he's going to have to beg for a reception on a day-to-day basis.
Okay,
Are you going to come in here and tell me Tesla's a gold mine?
Not so fast. Not so fast, Smitty. Sunday. Not so fast. When that went down, me and Zach was you've heard Zach a little bit. You know he's a nephew.
The chat doesn't know who Zach is. Stop referencing.
And when the Tesla pick went down, Zach turned around, and looked at me, says, "That kid touched it off the charts, just straight off the charts."
No one. How old is Zach's your nephew? What is he? 12? You taking advice from a?
No, he stopped.
A kid.
He won't take advice from me. I have to listen to everything he says.
Let me just tell you something. Tesla, unless your boy JMO gets traded, which you think won't happen, right? How is this guy?
They won't because they are.
So how is this guy going to do anything, Gump? How is he going to do a single thing in this offense? Who's the number 1 target getter on Detroit? St. Brown. Who's the number 2 target getter on Detroit?
Let me explain it to you. All right.
Lions insider.
Air raid offense, Detroit to Super Bowl. Because Tesla, he's just a magnet.
You didn't even know, Gump. You didn't even know who he was. Your little nephew told you who he was.
Oh, I watched.
You don't.
I
no, Gump. You just admitted your nephew had to tell you who he was.
No.
Yes, you don't know who he was. You don't know.
No,
No one knew who he was. People were just.
I didn't have a big eyeball on him. I had a small eyeball.
No, you don't know who he is. You have no idea who he is. You have no idea.
Yeah, I did. Well, someone was.
You have no clue.
There was a breakdown of the receivers,
you don't know.
And he was part of it. Just like that. Just like Tootin. How'd Tootin do? What do you think about Tootin?
I think Tootin didn't land in a spot we wanted him to land in, Gump. He landed in a crowded backfield.
We don't want that. But the freaking Henderson, that is a big talk.
Gump.
When the Patriots grabbed Henderson, right?
Anything else, Gump?
What?
I got a rule.
Well, what I want to say about Tesla, the Lions picked up 3 guards in the draft. 3 of them. They plan on passing the ball a lot. I mean, a lot. Sling, city. You know what I'm saying? Sling it.
Okay,
I'm
done. I'm done with this.
Swing it.
Gump, I'm sorry. It's just it's getting too cheese ball action up in here. Call back tomorrow.
Finish him.
I'm not running a Mickey Mouse school here. Kyrie Boston, final thoughts.
Okay, Smitty, I called to talk about Sanders because I didn't get that off my chest. My real thing is, I want to say Friday when the draft was happening, around the time when Pittsburgh was picking at 21st that I didn't think Sanders was going to go in the first round. But then the next day, he didn't go in the second round. And then after a while, I just started watching every pick in the draft. I feel like this year was the real-life draft day from the movie draft day.
I mean, no one...
And I feel like someone should write the story.
Well, I can tell you a lot of people attended his birthday party. So I don't understand. I think that the GMs... This is weird. This is a weird situation because you even had Sean Payton come out and say he doesn't get it, that Shadour's a good kid. He doesn't understand it at all. People are painting narratives. Just like these reports about George Kittle not showing up to voluntary workouts because... Hold on a second, Kyrie. Hold on a second. This is how you get hung up on. Kittle reportedly was not showing up to voluntary workouts because he was going to be in a contract holdout. And people just start making up shit. He was at WrestleMania. He doesn't always go to voluntary workouts anyway. He was at WrestleMania. And he had to retweet. Diana Rossini said, Kittle's not at workouts because he of his contract. And Kittle retweeted her right away and said, your source is wrong. And what does Diana Rossini do? Goes on her podcast and says, I had to check with my source. So she got on the phone with her source, and her source said, no, I'm right about that. And she called Kittle back out and goes, my source said it is correct. When Kittle just told her, no, these people don't trust the Mickey Mouse media. It's a big circus act. Journalism's dead. And I'm not pretending to be a journalist, even though technically I'm a more qualified journalist than about 90% of the people that are reporting news. I've got a degree from the most prestigious journalism college in the country. And I've been on NBC and CBS Sports Radio rotationally. I was on the longest fantasy football radio show on terrestrial radio for 23 straight years the show existed. And so it makes me frustrated, and I do get very, very, very passionate about this topic, about how many Mickey Mouse content creators there are out there posing to be journalists, and all these news aggregates pretending to be news people. And so the majority of all this Mickey Mouse content and news surrounding Shadour's interviews, surrounding Shadour's attitude, that he just didn't interview well, and some of this might be the case, but some of it is the response and the way that these GMs in brass and suits took this kid when they talked to him. Like, I don't know if it's about Dion. Part of it is, but here's the problem. If there's 5 or 6 teams that are interested in drafting him, that means that only 5 or 6 teams have to be vulnerable to that news or whatever pressured them not to go in the direction of Shadour. Because once those 5 or 6 teams, once you had Cam go, once you had Dart, once Dart went, then you're left with like 3 or 4 teams that are they're not sure. They're bad organizations. They don't have a quarterback. They're scared to make a mistake. And it becomes the draft day thing, like you said, which draft day seems so unrealistic, but it's not. It's so real. You have these 4 other lingering franchises that get on the phone and go, hey, this is Cleveland. Yeah. Is there something wrong with Shadour we should know about? What's going on? Why didn't you take Shadour? Why didn't you take Shadour? Should we not take Shadour? I think I'm going to pass on him. I think I'm going to take Gabriel. I'm going to take the quarterback Gabriel, who can't even throw downfield 30 yards. And then we'll take Shadour later. I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
No, I get it, though, Smitty. I get it. If they gave Sanders the job, then Dion would have came in for the job the next year if the team didn't win. But because
what do you mean? What do you mean by that? What's Dion ultimately have to do with it? Dion doesn't have control.
Listen, will you listen? Listen for a second. Listen before you get out of. It's like you don't ever want to hear nobody else out. They kicked the can down. So Deion Sanders couldn't take over at the coaching position because if he got drafted high and then the team lost it, the coach lost his job because they picked Deion Sanders' son so high, Deion Sanders would have had the job.
Oh, you would have?
Because
They kicked it down the road so much.
So, let me use Kyrie Boston logic. The team was concerned that if they drafted Shedeur too high, that Deion Sanders would just come and take the head coaching job.
If they lost.
The GM's thinking this? Why?
No, I'm saying
why?
that's what the
Okay,
coaches
but
think.
the coach doesn't. The coach doesn't just make the pick.
Can I explain?
No, hold on. Oh no, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Let you finish. Don't tell me. Let me finish on my own show. I'm in the middle of answering the question. I'm in the middle of talking. I'm in the middle of talking based on what you just said, and I'm asking you a question. Hold on. No. You didn't finish. You did finish, and it was my turn to speak, and now you just think you can keep talking. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Kyrie Boston, calm down. Calm down and listen. Calm down and listen. Listen real quick, and then you can speak. You can speak after 5, 4. You want to be hung up on 3, 2. This is my world. Yes, I can speak when I want, and I let you talk, and it was painful to wait until the end of what you said. I let you say it, and now I'm here to rebuttal. I'm asking you some questions in my questions. So let me finish. I'm just gonna ask you questions throughout.
Okay, go ahead.
You're saying that the GM is going, if we draft Shedeur too high, the GM, then my head coach, if he has a real bad season, will be replaced. And Deion's going to get the job, even though I'm in charge of hiring the head coach. I'm just trying to get your logic. What do you mean by that? You telling me they're afraid of Deion when they're the ones that have to hire him? The GM would have to hire him.
Let me tell you my logic. What you're saying is a little bit true, but it's not the whole. It's not the whole story. If you would let me complete what I had to say, you would understand a little bit better. What I was trying to say was that ain't the only thing. I'm just saying that's a part of it. A lot of these coaches think that he might take their job if they draft him too high. So if they draft him 5th or 6th round,
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I can't have you spit diarrhea out. You're spitting verbal diarrhea out on my show. You're spitting verbal diarrhea all over my phone line. That's not how they're thinking about it. Deion doesn't have the power to come take a job. You'd have to hire him, and if you hire him, that means you'd want him. Kyrie Boston, if Deion gets the job, if Deion gets the job, they hired him for the job. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Smitty. Like you get stuck in you can't see the gray area. I'm trying to tell you, it ain't always black and white.
Explain it to me.
I'm trying to show you the gray area.
Take me to the gray land.
I'm trying to show you the gray area. You won't let me finish.
Because there's verbal diarrhea.
I'm trying to tell you something, and you keep cutting me off before I get to the punchline. If you're trying to tell someone a joke, and they keep cutting you off before you get to the punchline.
It sounds like a joke. It sounds like a joke.
I know it's a joke. Let me get to the punchline. If it's a joke, let me get to the punchline, please.
I'll try. It's really painful. My ears are bleeding.
I just want to finish this one thought.
Yes.
Please. Let me do it one time. For the begging.
Go ahead.
Just one time. All right. I just want to say the reason why they let him slide so much, and you try to make me forget my thought I had.
You don't have a thought. There's nothing going on here.
I'm going to tell you. The reason why the teams did that is just like draft day in the movie. It was kind of like the same thing. They took the wins out of their sails. Now he's humble. He has a work for a spot. They got a total team around him. They would have just had him at number. Well, what would you rather have? Him at number 3 or him at number 5 or a whole team around him? Even though they didn't get Jeanty.
But
the Browns didn't get Jeanty. I hate they didn't
answer
draft
the question?
Jeanty in the
You asked me the question.
Round. But
you
they
asked me
got
the question.
a team around.
You know what?
him.
Your complete argument is thrown.
What I'm trying to say is when you got when you're rebuilding and you got that team,
you don't have that type of fear. I feel like the Browns drafted a great team
the
this year.
Browns had
like
some
the
moments,
Browns stole that
but you
draft,
could have
bro.
drafted a different player instead of Gabriel. But that could be what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say doesn't make sense.
I hated the
What you're
Browns
trying to
through the
say
first-
doesn't make
until-
sense
until they took
because you could have
Shador,
taken
I hated
another
him.
player instead of Gabriel, or you could have just taken mother freaking. Hey, you could have taken Shador at the Gabriel pick and taken another player later. So
I didn't like none of their picks.
you just said
Smitty.
they're the best.
I
You
didn't
just
like
said
none
they're
of
the
their
best
picks, but
draft.
they-
I'm done.
Finish him. Call terminated.
He just said he loved their draft. They had a great draft, did he not? And then he just said he doesn't like any of their picks. He doesn't know what he's saying. Doesn't know what he's saying. Travis, final thoughts. Or if you can digest that verbal diarrhea we just heard. I tried my best.
I think you got a super chat.
Yeah, let's go to something productive. Aaron says, what wide receivers? No, Kyrie Boston. No, he keeps dialing in. You and Gump just dialing straight over and over and over. You got hung up on for a reason. What wide receivers do you think the Pats will get rid of? I'll leave that for Travis. I'd say I don't know.
Right now, it's Kayshon Boutte is on the outside
Maybe.
looking in. They've talked about trading
I think the
him.
rookies they
Kendrick Bourne possibly.
I think they keep their.
I think unless they get a good deal, they'll just
I
bring
wish
all of the
Javon
trades
Walker
and let them battle it out.
1.5. Take Hunter, Henderson, or trade for Laporta. I definitely don't want Laporta. I mean, it could be tight end premium, but I definitely don't want Laporta over this option. I'd take Henderson without a. I mean, I got it right here. this is Henderson's my number 2. So Henderson or Hampton, you're smashing the hell out of that, in my opinion. But I do like Travis Hunter though a lot. But I take one of the RBs, and Henderson's my number 2. So Henderson all the way. But I love if Hampton's still there, then Hampton's a smash. You could even take Harvey there, honestly. Smitty, I'm in a rebuilding 10 PPR Superflex. Who do you prefer, 1.4 or Penix or Fields, or take Ward with the 1.4? Need a QB2. This is the part where it's really hard for me, bro, because it's not my fault your quarterback room's in shambles or the way you feel it is, like the quarterback 2 spot. I don't force quarterback. I don't force Ward. I like Ward, but I don't force Ward there. I'm not doing it. I'm taking our other rookie. Penix Jr. is interesting though. I think it would. I'd almost want to do this one.
I wonder who he has.
I'd almost want to do this when I'm on the clock.
Already at QB2.
Yeah, I don't know. I almost would rather do this on the clock, or I trade a future first rounder for Penix, bro. I think I worked that angle. I don't think it would take more than a future first rounder. I don't think you have to give up a defined 1.4. I'm taking Harvey or Hampton or Henderson with that 1.4. I don't give a shit. And then I go and try and trade for Fields still, Penix Jr., give up first rounder, whatever you got to do. And your first rounder will be garbage anyway, right? Right? Because you're going to win, pal. You're going to do it live is what you're going to do. Appreciate your super chat. Travis, final thoughts. Man, Gump, and I don't know who gets my blood pressure boiling more, Gump or Kyrie or one-upper.
Ooh, that's a tough one. They all have their own ways.
I'm surprised Ron hasn't had a run-in with one of them.
Yeah.
Been kind of waiting for that.
That could be an ugly one.
That could get crazy.
Ron,
you can't even hear over Ron, so. Get Shador later. Go get Shador later, or Milroe, but obviously Milroe could go. But get Shador later, bro, and then ride it kind of wild at the QB2 spot and hope that ends up being something. I'd rather have Harvey or Hampton or Henderson with Shador, even if he's not starting yet, than have to trade for a quarterback at that level. Even though I like Penix Jr. a lot, but I would give up a future first for him. That's what I'd do.
Yes, Aaron said she already knew what I thought. So, who would you cut from the Patriots? If you want to know.
Let me take a look at their entire depth chart. Like, how many do I got to pick?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to have to cut 2 at the end of the day. One or two.
Let's play.
Javon Baker, Ray will love him. So
I'd cut Matt Collins. The guy won't wear shoes.
Yeah, I would too. I don't think they're going to because they brought him in. But
Probably Matt Collins. Personally, who would I cut? Matt Collins and Jackson. Or John Giles.
Jackson.
They got John Giles.
Yeah, those guys, if they're still,
I don't even know if they're still there.
There you go.
If they're not there, let's pretend Jaquan Jackson and John Giles are not even on the roster. I'm gonna get rid of Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Deuces. Sorry, I'm keeping Javon.
That's what I would do.
It's kind of sad where Polk.
I keep
kind of sad.
over.
Polk and Baker are like non-existent. Like, what is going on there?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Last thing I was going to ask was, you got another
thoughts on the Browns QB room? What a clown team! Yeah, what is it? Like Kyrie Boston was trying to argue that it's better that they got Shedeur later. No, I don't agree. I think that's a really bad take, and I'll tell you why. And he could say I wasn't going to let him talk, but I already know what he's going to say. I can predict the future, so I know what Kyrie Boston is trying to tell me. It's just I can say it a lot quicker. At the end of the day, he's trying to call on from his other number. No, Kyrie Boston, enough is enough. At least for tonight. Call him tomorrow. Take an L. But he hits me up on all different lines. Here's the thing. There's something to value and there's something to confidence. There's something to trying to push your limits and shoving a player down and proving that the draft capital means you're less committed. So, yes, if you take him in round 5, you could argue a layman or a very novice person. No offense, Kyrie Boston, and I'm not answering your call. I just told you that. A very casual might even say, well, it's better to get Shedeur in round 6 or 5 than to get him in 3 or 4. Not necessarily true. It puts him in a different positioning. It puts you in a different light, an obligation. Now you're almost obligated to go with Gabriel or give this kid Gabriel a shot. You should have drafted Shedeur at least where you drafted Gabriel. And then with Shedeur's draft slot, you drafted another player to support him. This whole notion that you grab a worthless quarterback like Gabriel, who will be nothing in this league, an absolute nothing. Gump would be a better quarterback than Gabriel, who the Cleveland Browns selected way before they drafted Shedeur. And just because they got lucky and got Shedeur doesn't mean it was the right call. They could have lost him. It was not the right move. They should have taken him earlier. I would have taken him probably way too early. I'll be honest. I would have taken him probably in the second round if I was in charge of that team. And I would have never known. I got Gump trying to call in. I got Gump and Kyrie Boston just blowing my lineup together. Are you guys in the same room or something? I know you guys talk together. I know you guys are you're like best friends.
Oh, they're in that
Gump.
room.
What is so urgent that you have to call my phone line? What's up?
We're in Draven's room.
Well, I listened to all that, and Mr. Boston's kind of right a little bit there.
No.
Neon is going to start bucking for a head coach.
Gump. Just wait a second. You could say I'm interrupting you, and Kyrie Boston could say Smitty doesn't let anybody talk or anything. It's just I've got a show to run. I've got 300 or 400 people in a live chat room, and I watch it go from 300 or 400 to 244 because I let one of you talk too long. So it's my obligation to cut you off when you're not making any sense. And what Kyrie Boston was trying to explain was verbal diarrhea. That this team is better off letting him
No, it wasn't, Smitty. You never let
you
him
want me to hang up on you.
You never let him finish. That's okay, though. You can cut a person off and hang up on him, but you never let
and
no
now
one
you
finish
just
speaking.
can't keep quiet.
I never got the chance to get my point
because
across.
you take forever.
No, I was trying to say
You weren't.
something. I was trying to tell you that you didn't notice that the
Can
Cleveland
you
Browns
stop yelling?
had drafted a
Can
whole
you
team
stop
around
yelling?
Sanders, who's a first-round draft pick.
Wait a minute, Boston.
He's
Just
off.
hang on.
He's off. I got First of all,
Can I say
rules are
something?
rules.
Can
I
I
got
say
3 red X's. He's done no matter what. Kyrie Boston, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. The red X's have kicked you off the show. If you get 3 red X's, you're done for the night no matter what. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay, so you can call until your heart's content. The red X's have spoken. You can call in tomorrow. Plus, you were calling it too loud, bro. But as I was trying to say before, I'll let you speak real quickly, Gump. But you better be quick with this because you guys are dragging this thing out. You cannot say that taking Shedeur in 5 or 6 is better than taking him in 2 or 3 just because it's a value. There's negative implications to draft value. There's negative, if something goes wrong, there's no commitment. There's a lot of important factors as to why you're going to take. You're not just going to take a guy and ruin his confidence and put him behind Gabriel. Now there's a pecking order expectation. It's not the right move. And the Browns had a horrible draft in many ways. They ended up getting Shedeur late, which you could say if this team, let's say a team didn't have a draft pick until round 5 and they wanted Shedeur and they slipped to him and they're like, oh my God, thank you, we're glad to have you. That'd be different. But the draft room, they barely clapped. They picked Shedeur and they're like, they weren't even happy that they drafted Shedeur. Shedeur in that round at that pick should have been everybody jumping for joy, bear hugging each other, and they didn't even care. This is a Mickey Mouse organization right now, the Cleveland Browns. To take Shedeur as late as they did is a debacle. It's also disrespectful. And what Kyrie Boston was saying is that the reason that they wanted to draft him late, this is what Kyrie Boston was trying to say. I'll tell you exactly what he's trying to say. And it was nonsense. That they're afraid that Deion Sanders is going to come take the head coaching job. That's basically what he said. Because he said they're afraid, the coach is afraid that if they fail, that Deion's going to come and take the job. How is that even possible? You have to give him the job. And the decision makers that give the job are the decision makers that drafted Shedeur. The same decision makers that drafted Shedeur are the ones that are going to put the head coach in place. So it's not like you have a head coach going, I don't want Shedeur. He doesn't have control of it. It made no sense at all. It made zero sense at all. There's no, let's draft Shedeur later so that Deion doesn't take my job. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Well, you seen what he did when he got drafted, right?
Jumped in a pool?
He jumped. He ran
and
to the
said,
pool
"Thank
and
God."
jumped in. That kid does not have a lack.
And said, "Thank you."
Yeah, he does not have a lack of confidence. Yeah, he does not have a lack of confidence.
Okay, but he also said, "Thank you, God."
And
he also said, "God doesn't make mistakes." He said a lot of great things. Kid's a good kid.
No.
Everyone's wrong. Everyone's wrong. 32 teams are wrong. The Browns are even wrong.
I'm starting to think that Pittsburgh, Tomlinson didn't want to get Shedeur because everybody wants to kick him out of Pittsburgh. And they'd love to have Sanders as coach. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm in bizarro land. Gump, thank you. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you tomorrow, pal. That was great.
I say fire Tomlinson.
His name's not Tomlinson. It's Tomlin, Gump. Damn it.
Finish him.
We got Kyrie talking about Harborough. Is that Kyrie or is that one upper? I forget.
Yeah.
Harborough, and Tomlinson.
Tomlinson.
You imagine calling Tomlinson to your office? Hey, Tomlinson, sit down. We gotta talk. You mean Tomlin? Tomlin. Process the paperwork to fire Tomlinson, and then he never gets fired, and they keep giving him checks for years and years and years because Gump fired Tomlinson and not Tomlin. Can you imagine? Team's going to get ripped off for 10 years before someone figures out the paperwork error because this man's firing Tomlinson. Thoughts on the Browns QB room? Already answered that one. Thank you for the super chat. I think Shedeur wins it, but this is the Browns. They may not let it happen, and that's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And Jake, Pitt, and LAC, what do you think about running back rooms? I mean, that's what the whole show is about, Jake. But in a nutshell, definitely go rewatch it so you can get your fix of it. But in a nutshell, it's a complicated Charger landing spot for now, but I think he overcomes it. But they're certainly not just going to nudge Najee out. And if you need a little bit of a reminder that before Hampton landed in LAC, we were drafting Najee with pretty good confidence in the 4 or 5 turn range. So there was an expectation that he was going to do pretty well. As for the Pittsburgh spot, it's a one-dimensional offense, in my opinion, or a one-dimensional role, because Jaylen Warren was just anointed the starter right before the draft. So you're telling me they're going to, throw him to the wind? I don't think so. So this is going to be a non-PPR role for Caleb Johnson in a very mundane, bland offense that I don't think Najee averaged 3.9 a carry because he was bad. I think he averaged that because the offensive line is bad, and it's a very vanilla system and has been for years. So don't love the Pittsburgh spot. Like Hampton long term, but there's complications and roadblocks that he can get over, but it's not going to be just a clear path. And the same thing for Henderson to a degree, but Henderson fits that role more of the sharing carries. Okay, Travis, anything else? Kyrie, I can't answer. I can't answer even if I want to. Rules are rules. You got 3 red X's from the audience. Go ahead, Travis. Final thoughts, and then I got to go. It's like a 10-hour.
Jake Burgess, the guy who sent the super chat, he just found the channel.
Attaboy, Jakey. So that's probably why you didn't hear the beginning. Jake, appreciate you. First time here, fam. Can we get?
Yeah.
Can we get?
So he was just asking 50-50 if it'll be a 50-50 backfield.
No.
Chargers.
It could be right away. I mean, but I think in time he'll grab it. I think Hampton's a great pick. It's just there's some Harbaugh, aka Harborough, concerns because I think he is capable of doing anything. Like I think he's capable of giving Hampton all of the, jobs. Okay, let me hit this for Jake. Jake, this one's for you, pal.
Let him cook.
Jakey, glad you found us, pal. Jake, how did you find us? Did you just pull up YouTube when it was suggested, or did you type in something specific? I want to know how you exactly found us. Did you type in NFL draft coverage? Did you just get suggested the show? Aaron says, Kyrie, you are rude. You're not the first person to disagree with Smitty. Most people don't call back 35 times screaming. Let it go. You're not the only person listening. Look, you got Aaron spending $5 to send you a message to calm down. Let Aaron cook, says Travis.
Let him cook.
We might need to have a let her cook and a let him cook. I might have to look into that. All right.
Yeah. Waiting to see how so he did the same thing I did. He typed in looking for live shows. I did the same thing at 1 in the morning once, and that's how I found the show.
But did you looking for live shows? But what did you? Oh, so you just hit live and then you saw it. I got you.
I just typed in live fantasy football.
That's how you found me the once upon a time.
And you
nice. Jake, appreciate you.
Yep.
Jake to the moon.
So I was just going to ask real quick about the Jaguars backfield. They took Quinn Allen too, so I know that really doesn't matter because the draft sucked, but he's not a bad back. So do you think they make a trade, make a move, or is it just going to be crowded? Is Tootin just going to be in a rotation?
So Jaguar running back. Allen's okay. Allen's okay, but I don't think Quinn Allen's any sort of running back threat, bro. I don't know. He's solid, but I think if I remember correctly, he's not even a running back really. Hold on. Quinn Allen. I think he's a hybrid, but so I think he doesn't even come with the. He's 6 foot 201 pounds. Let me just make sure I'm right on that. I liked him. I remember scouting him, but I remember thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute. He's, I want to say he's a converted, but he had such a good year in 2024. He had 1,000 yards and then 16 rushing touchdowns. But you can look at his game log, 64 receptions for 521 and 4. So he had a 1,500 yard, 20 touchdown season at Syracuse. But he does feel like a receiver. I do wonder if he's a threat to ETN and Tootin more than he's a threat to Bigsby. Who knows? He had a good year. That's a phenomenal year. But if I remember correctly, I want to say he was a convert, but what a conversion it was. Yeah, I remember looking at his film. So let me look. I got some film right here up on him. I'm going to watch it right now live and describe it, okay? He does run like a receiver. It looks like Garrett Wilson running the ball down the field when he breaks loose. Let me just look at it here, okay? So this is LeQuint Allen. He's kickoff return guy. That's part of why I think they may have got him for returns. Okay, so he's a return artist. He brings that return mentality to the running game. I'm watching it right now. He definitely looks like a receiver sometimes running. Let me just see. It doesn't mean it won't work. I'm just trying to describe him. So he gets the ball.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he does look.
Struggles against loaded boxes, wears down, and gave 20 plus carries.
He looks like he just found the position, but I mean there are a lot of breakaway runs too. I'm watching his highlights right now, but he's a really good receiver. Let me see. Yeah, I think I'm right on the returning. Maybe he. Hold on, did he return? Maybe he didn't.
His limited special teams.
Okay, maybe not. Yeah, I might be wrong on his returning. I'm sorry. I misspoke on that. He's not a return specialist. My bad on that. That. I was.
He just, he can do a little bit of everything. So he probably isn't. Like you said, he's not a threat to take over a big spot.
Yeah, I was wrong on that. He's not a returner. I was thinking of somebody else. Who was I thinking of? There's somebody down that range that I was thinking of. Okay, I don't know. My bad. I was wrong. He's not a return artist. I don't know. His 16 rushing touchdowns is impressive, but I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, they like him, but he is a receiver. I was right about that. His receiving game. I still think I want to say he converted at one point, which is fine because he did a great job. In 2 years, he converted for 2 years, so it wasn't like he just learned the position in 1 year. Here's his game log for anybody who wants to see it. This is LeQuint Allen, the running back that was drafted, the second running back. They drafted Tootin, and then they drafted Allen. But the problem is he's behind Tootin. He's got to climb multiple spots. But here's his receiving numbers. The 2024 line specifically, 64 receptions, 521, and 4 TDs. It's a really, really good receiving line to go with 16 rushing touchdowns. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I saw him comp to, and it actually makes sense from the numbers, is that guy Dylan Lobby that the Raiders drafted last year. He was the same way. Like, he had 1 or 2 really nice rushing years, but he was a pass catcher.
Yeah.
And he didn't do much. But so more so just a weapon. They took a flyer on the end of the draft. He's not going to threaten any of the
Vidal says.
So it's just a matter of if he moves or not.
Vidal says, I just don't understand how Caleb Johnson not higher on the list. His landing spot was amazing. Yeah, but I disagree that the landing spot's amazing, Vidal. It's not that I think that the Steelers can't win or that they aren't a well-rounded team, but he's landing in a spot, Caleb Johnson, where Jaylen Warren is not relinquishing the receiving down work from a guy that didn't test well. Warren's a monster. He knows the offense. He knows the system. He was just anointed the starting role, and I know that that's in jeopardy now, obviously, but he's not going away. This is the most crowded situation for a coach in Arthur Smith that runs committees and messes things up all the time. Like, there's no way this is not he's a one-dimensional player in this setup. This is not a great landing spot. I think it's a good landing spot because they can use him, but he's going to be in a committee, and Jaylen Warren is not going away. He is not going away. And then we got a super chat here by Aaron. Aaron says, oh, no, that was the other one.
Toner.
Toner, yeah, that's right. Toner, this is the one. Trade 2.10 2025 for Jalen McMillan. Hell yeah. Well, I mean, I think so because
I was going to say it's a little
it's tougher now, but I still love him. I love his talent, and I think that Evans goes away very soon, and then Godwin's an older player with injury history, so it's like Jalen McMillan and Egbuka are the starting receivers like 2 years from now, maybe. So I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say like excited, like, oh hell yeah. I guess that was a little bit. I don't know. It's tough. I'd probably take it. Also depends on who could fall there.
It's a smart move by Tampa though to get Egbuka and McMillan. Their future is all set.
Yeah. Here's the thing about that. Like when you really think about it. What position is the hardest position to acquire in free agency? It's wide receiver. Running backs are all there for the taking. Quarterbacks first. So quarterback first, but it's wide receiver. You know, and you're talking about 30 to 40 to it's climbing, 30 to 40 million a year for an elite player, or even a player that's like borderline top 10. And if you're not ahead of wide receiver where they're the cheapest, you're talking about taking Egbuka and Burden, and these guys are. This is the definition of taking a car off the lot and it being worth more once you drive it off the lot. Whereas another position, you drive it off the lot, you drive a car off the lot, it goes down $2,000 right away. So yeah, it's super smart to do your investing in wide receivers in the draft so that you don't have to pay these guys $40 million per year. So Egbuka, if you believe he's the guy and you're jumping on it a year early, it's a great move. And one could say the same thing about the Bears, using that for Burden as an example. But the reason I don't think that is because I think they've got other holes, and I don't even know. And part of it is a bias that I think is it's right. It's rooted in truth. That I don't want that situation. I don't want Burden in a situation where he can't rise up and be the one. At least Egbuka can. Like Odunze's there. DJ Moore's not, necessarily the oldest receiver in the league, but like he's not the youngest either. But I just don't. It's not a place I want Burden to go for now. Could long term he have some good value there? Eventually, sure. That's why I still like Burden. But I also think it's a bad organization. Whereas the Bucs, I think, are playing well. They're winning. They're good. Baker's cooking. Bucky's amazing. I do worry about them losing Liam Cohen, but we'll see how it goes. But there's some correlations there. Someone could call me out on saying, you just said that not to take Burden, but Ryan Poles is doing the same thing. Ryan Poles has been screwing up draft after draft after draft. I give him no benefit of the doubt. Getting Egbuka before he blows up, and he's a great player, and he has a great, situation, I think it is smart. And Evans is on the verge of falling off. Godwin's injury prone and older. Odunze's not. DJ Moore is still a good player. Like, it's a little bit different. All right. I think I'm out of here, Travis.
Yep. Just if you can, drop the Patreon link for Jake.
Yeah, Jake, definitely, bro. Definitely, bro. Later, man.
Talk to you later, Smitty. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Jake, here's the link to the Patreon, my boy. Patreon, let me show the Patreon here. It's a live chat 24. It's basically the live stream, the YouTube live stream people that you see in there. They're all in this 365 24/7 chat group. So it's just kind of like a instant message, basically. And we're all just sitting in there. Join the Patreon link there. Link is pinned in the live chat right. I can click it. Come on. No. It won't let me pin it. There you go. I pinned it. It's in the description of every video. Jake, we'll see you in there. I'll actually go over to the Patreon right after the show. So I'll see all of you on Patreon right now. Appreciate all of you. Jake, you don't know that we play a lot of amazing animations over here.
Hey, I'm Dom, and I drive fast cars, get hot chicks, and draft Ashton Jeanty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Jeanty's stats all day, the other is for getting chicks.
Get buckied.
Take a bucky bath.
Buckied.
He's BTJ. What you gonna do? He's BTJ. He's gonna put it on you. He's BTJ. Gonna have a good game. He's BTJ. Your mama screams his name. BTJ is going to put it on you. There's not a single thing that you can do. BTJ is going to put it on you. There's not a single thing that you can do.
There are handfuls of Saturn, Mars, and Moon men, but only 8 can be supernovas. I give you the 8 best picks in fantasy football.
They are the 8 supernovas. They are the 8 supernovas. The hateful 8 supernovas. I'm looking at the 8 supernovas. The magnificent 8.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
I don't know who the last supernova is going to be, but it's going to be exciting. And then Sick Nasty wanted, for old time's sake, the Marvin Harrison Jr. video. I do feel he will have a bounce back year. You know, I don't know, bounce back. His first year was last year, so you'd say have his breakout year. Eventually have his breakout year this year. I do think it's possible. Here it is, the MHJ original.
I'm a Cardinal, hey, I'm a Cardinal. 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 The Cardinals look to be rising, and MHJ is your king. Cardinal.
See you all tomorrow. Appreciate you. Hit the like button on the way out the door. We got one final super chat here from Shane. Shane says, how do you think the Texans did on the draft to get? Good question, Shane. The Texans on the draft to get. Let me just take a little gander at all their picks, sum total, because I actually went live before they even stopped drafting. I want to see their last pick. But yeah, Texans. I think, you know, getting the 2 wide receivers was kind of intriguing. I think some teams do that well, some teams don't. The Patriots were an example of it botching that last year with Folk and what's his name? I think yeah. So at the end of the day, let me sort by. Let me sort by Houston and look at their entire sum total of picks. Give a good little overview. I would say Higgins. I like their offensive tackle selection at pick 48. Jalen Noel was, I think, interesting. I don't know that I would have taken him there, but I like Jalen Smith a little bit. Woody Marks was interesting. We'll talk about Woody Marks' fantasy implications and value. I think I would have just taken a better running back instead of Noel. You know, that's probably what I would have done. But I don't think Mertz was a good QB selection to take Shedeur Sanders. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like any team that and I'm not saying that you need a QB necessarily, but like you took one. So if you're going to take Graham Mertz, I don't want to hear, that's what pisses me off when someone says something like that. So let me circle back over real quick and just make this statement. Is when I say they should have took Shedeur, and then somebody goes, "What? They didn't need a quarterback." But you took a quarterback. Yeah, but we didn't take like Shedeur. We didn't need Shedeur. So what are you saying? You'd rather take a lesser quarterback so that you don't scare CJ Stroud? Like, you took a quarterback. Here's the I'll put it up on screen. Here's the draft tracker for the Houston Texans. Just so we're all well aware of what they did. Here's a screenshot. Jaden Reed, Mertz. Let me put it on screen. Here you go. Now, again, I'm not saying that they could take him here at this Mertz pick, but instead of going Jalen Noel, I'm even talking third round. Like, I wouldn't have known that Shedeur was going to fall to where he fell. So I'm saying instead of Jalen Noel, I'm taking Shedeur. I would have taken him early. But like, why are you taking an extra wide receiver personally when you can get a couple other wide receivers? Like, look at Bond. I would have taken Bond at the end of the draft. And this isn't even the end of the draft. I would have taken Bond at the end of the draft instead of taking Jalen Noel. Take Shedeur there. Or take Bond at this Mertz pick. Take Bond at the Mertz pick. Take Shedeur at the Noel pick. Am I wrong? Does anybody think that Bond and Shedeur is not better than Noel and Mertz? I just feel like it's a masterclass. I could run circles around some of these stupid GMs. I'm not saying Noel isn't good. I'm saying you already took Higgins. You got Nico Collins. You want a third wide receiver. Isaiah Bond is better. You might like Noel better, and that's fine. But Isaiah Bond's better than Noel, in my opinion. And you could have got Shedeur. See you all later. Thank you, Shane. Thank you to my super chatters. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Cool Guy. Thank you, BBQ. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Calvin Krim. Thank you, Megas. Thank you, Logan. Thank you, BBQ. Joey DeRosa with that $20 hauler. Aaron with the $20 hauler. Call your boy Loud. Matt. Sick Nasty. Keegan. Aaron. Joss. TJ. Matt again. Jake. Aaron again. Toner. Shane. Appreciate all the super chats. Deuces. See you all later. I'll be live tomorrow. Don't forget I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Additionally live whenever big news breaks and an additional live stream. Not just, we go live when news breaks, Jake. We go live when news breaks, Jake. And we're also live most midnights at Eastern, like tonight. See you later.